The Precious Achua experience this year has caused me so much pain. They signed this guy like the day the season started, and I remember thinking like, oh, all this guy can do is like grab 5 offensive rebounds and commit 6 fouls per game, and he's just kind of like a 6'8" cube who just runs around and hits people. And then he is the single-handed author of like the Kings not having the worst record, but having like tied for 5th with the Jazz because of the psychic damage he took from this trade, where all of his former teams, like the Knicks and the Raptors, he just turns into like prime LeBron James and will just do crazy stuff to them. So I just got to say, it's nice to share a worst moment of the season. Yeah. And
I think what's going to happen is he needs the sort of like Dennis Schroeder thing where he's traded to every team and then he will actually be good because he will just have a grudge against every team and then he'll like show up and put up like 25 and 25 every game.
I think I'm kind of like I think people like Mike because I'm kind of a unique kind of character.
You just see how games and possessions are so intense, how they mean more. I think the U.S. is going to obviously win.
Okay, hello and welcome to the Eastern Conference Playoff Preview, the Western Conference episode. If you're listening to this, we have already released the Western Conference Playoff episode. We went very long with all kinds of people. We go in all different directions. We talk about Noah Colwyn kind of talks about the Knicks, kind of like a divorce. Kylie Chung talks about cursing. Very about how she didn't, in fact, 100% did not Etsy Kurtz, fucking Charlie Kirk, and all kinds of things in between. We teach Jacob Rosenberg about what the Heat do. So there's many different directions. So what's the one team we didn't do?
The Miami Heat, the 10
Miami
seed.
Heat, exactly.
This just narrative wise, Heat Hornets 9-10 is a real like referendum on the soul of the regular season question, because the thing with the Heat is always like they get to the playoffs and Spoelstra has just like invented a new way to play defense, like previously not thought possible into the limits of Euclidean geometry. Whereas like the Hornets have been on a 100 game win streak and have remained in the 9 seed the entire season. And just like one of those narratives is going to break. And to say I'm excited to watch wouldn't really be accurate, but like something will happen.
I'm going to be by the time you're hearing this, this game will be over, but I will be so, which by the way does not, I highly suggest you still listen to our Jacob Rosenberg interview. It's very funny. But I'm going to be so disappointed if the Heat win. I just, it's such a low stakes thing in terms of like narrative. Like I don't care about the two narratives at stake, but I want to watch the Hornets so much more than I want to watch the Heat. It's like, there's not a bigger delta I can think of.
Yeah. I like every time someone makes some long point about like, the hero pick and roll stuff or like the double big line, I'm just like, I don't care. I have other stuff going on. Like, I'm great. It's cool. That's happening. Mm-hmm. Bam is 6'8". This is not going to go well for them. Whatever.
I couldn't agree more. I don't have much nice to say about Miami, it's just, I just hope it doesn't happen. So
actually I realize the content of Jacob's interview provides a hedge against the Hornets losing because a lot of it is about Miami itself.
It's true.
So no matter what has already happened in this game, it's worth listening to. So,
it is worth listening.
As are the rest. I had a lot of fun with these ones.
Yes. Me as well. And so, yeah, this is the last bit of us talking before we get the playoffs off. So thank you everybody for listening to our massive playoff preview. And
should we offer predictions?
I can give a few. Let's give
I was thinking more like NBR style predictions. Like
okay.
What will be the biggest narrative defeat? Which I guess must necessarily dovetail with like a regular style prediction. And I guess I sort of already said this on the West Coast one. I just think the like inevitability of the Spurs wish casting. I just like, I don't know, man. Their path is so tough. I mean,
Yeah,
depending what happens in the Nuggets series. But.
I think if I had to guess, I agree with you about the Spurs, and then about like basically, I am seeing the playoffs are over, and Wemby is doing a post exit interview where he's like, I get it now. I didn't get it before, but now I get it. And whether or not that's true, or whatever, maybe he does another 6 months in monastery learning to breathe or whatever. But I think he's going to be on I get it now mode. I think how about this for a prediction? Something has to give in Little Guardsville, Cleveland, New York. Like one of those, Brunson or Mitchell, like one of those guys are getting jettisoned from the group they occupy together as like elite, top 10 NBA players. I think I just, there's been too much for that level of quality of basketball. There's been for the rarefied air that they are both in right now, for them to not, make a conference finals or make an NBA finals, there's too much. It's too small of a group for them to remain in there. So that would be my prediction.
I think the looming specter of Giannis is going to be a really interesting, like, post facto thing that's going to happen here, where like if the Rockets lose in the first round, like that's what people are going to be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the Spurs flame out, like I don't think they're going to trade for Giannis at this point. Like the idea of giving up either Castle or Harper, I think is like not going to happen, but like people will bring that up. And this idea that like there's this next big superstar kind of out there on the horizon waiting to be brought in. And like, it's that's happening at an interesting moment where like the Thunder, Spurs, and Pistons are like three of the top seeds. And those are all teams that have like studiously declined to make big deals for aging superstars. And instead have built around these like young cores. And like when the Giannis cycle was happening this season, the thing people kept bringing up was like the disaster of the Paul George trade and like how like trading up in age is just kind of never worth it. And like the Luka trade had just happened. And I think that is maybe tipped over a little too far. And people being like, Giannis is not worth 2 first-round picks because he gets hurt sometimes. Like I'm excited to see, not that like I like the Giannis saga or need to have 8 more months of him pretending like he doesn't want to leave, but like that's an interesting sort of narrative counterweight that's going to swing for someone.
Yes, I think that's right. The yes, totally. Which will feed the sort of perpetual trade machine, which can be fun. I have one other thing I wanted to throw out, which is this is like a macro meta narrative thing. So drink if you had that on your NBR drinking game. On television, we are going to be hearing a lot of like Kendrick Perkins or Inside the NBA or Zach Lowe, whoever, explaining complex switching schemes. I think this is the year where we start talking about like peel screens or peel switches and like, oh, look at what the Thunder do to switch the back line so that they get the right matchup. Like that's going to be the like NBA kind of super nerd thing that punctures into the mainstream because so many teams are navigating to try to get these weird switches and then counter navigating to not have, their Steph Curry switched onto their LeBron.
That's a good one. I agree with that totally. And another one, since you mentioned Perkins, I was just thinking like this is the first playoffs happening under the new TV deal. So no TNT, but yes, Peacock and Amazon, who has the play-ins tonight. And I think you're going to see, I've seen this complaint from other people before where they're like, I have no idea what channel the game is on. And like, I just have to say that's a baby list complaint. Like you can find out in 2 seconds which of these streaming services has the game. It's fine. I think the broadcasts have been good. Like we don't talk about ratings in this podcast, but I think some stuff has happened there. I'm honestly not sure. And like, I'm just sort of excited to see, Michael Grady call some big games. Just like see some new stuff happen. So
Yeah, totally. I agree.
well, should we get it going?
Yes, we will enjoy our Mega Playoff Pod.
Yeah, enjoy. Tap in. 8:43 a.m. February 9th. I saw a Stons fan saying trade the pervert recently, and I was like, uh-oh, do we have some kind of sex pest on our team? And then learned some fans have started using the slander nickname Careless Pervert. It continues. March 18th, 8:55 p.m. Tari Eason is the Karras of the Rockets. March 3rd, 5:54 p.m. God, I just hate Karras so much. February 19th, 5:54 p.m. I am at trivia watching the game on my phone at a bar and had to do a silent crash out about Karras. January 18th, 9:03 a.m. Final update. Stons won by 43 last night and Karras was a plus minus of 0. Final update here. February 9th, 5:40 p.m. Pistons up 8. Karras a minus 14 Oprah shrug meme. And so this brings us to our first question, which is, who is a guy on your team who drives you crazy? Also, hello, we have my 3 Anantharam with us. I should just say these are all internal Slack messages from you. You have graced us by coming back from book leave to talk about
everyone
Karras LeVert.
at their lowest moments is Slack and stuff like this. I like that you included the timestamps too.
Of course.
I just did a quick look through our Valkyline group chat, and I would
God.
also like to add to the record, Karras hates women. Shocker.
What was that about? Okay,
That was
was that the
about,
one where they're like asking about how you should treat your girlfriend or something?
Karras
And he's
was
like,
ambivalent about
He
gifting a
wouldn't.
Birkin.
Oh yeah, but Paul Reed would buy them a Birkin.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's beautiful. How you doing? Are you ready? Are you ready for the Pistons playoffs?
I'm good. I'm really excited. Yeah, so they won their 60th game last night. So made it official. And I was doing lots of like reminiscing with other people. We were like pulling up the 2023-2024 Pistons basketball reference page and just like looking through some names there.
Who jumped out to you in that
how
one?
we survived. So the thing that like always gets me is I forgot how many games Killian started. Like I think at this point he was a known like bad player. We'd settled that once and for all. But he still started like 35, 40 games or something.
Yeah.
Malachi Flynn was on the team and had a 50-point game in April
Right.
of that year.
Which sort of set the table for his Ball Don't Stop Pro-Am MVP a couple months
yes,
later.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We should have seen it coming. And I was thinking, there's this bar in Detroit called Kiesling. It's really nice, little like homey, cozy bar. It's Small Business Monday here on Nothing But Respect. So shout out Kiesling. And
Kiesling.
on the side of the bar, it's since been painted over. There was a mural. And it had 3 Pistons on it. And one was Isaiah Thomas, Hall of Famer, multi-time champion with the Pistons. One of them was Ben Wallace, another Hall of Famer, another champion with the Pistons. And in the middle was Jeremy Grant. That's how down bad we were. We painted Jeremy Grant on the side of a building. And now we won 60 games. And that thing was up for the last time I saw that. It was like Thanksgiving of 2023 was the last time I was there. And I think he had been traded like months before that. I mean, it just stayed up for years. For years.
That's amazing.
I was trying to guess in my mind who it was going to be, and Jeremy Grant genuinely
I'll send you the
shocked me.
photo because I was
Yeah, please.
looking at
That's
it.
so good. Yeah, you've really come a long way. And I got to say, as someone whose life is also being ruined by Killian Hayes because he was
Yes.
good enough to win the
I'm
Kings
so
like
glad
4
you did
games
that.
on accident. I
So
feel your pain.
so how did that turn out? He was too good in the end?
He was too good. Yeah. He he started his Kings tenure going like 1 for 25. And I was just like, God, this is so good. I love French guys. Like
Yeah.
it's all going to be fine. And then him and Precious Achua had like a deadly tomb. We don't need to talk about this. We're getting off topic already. I got to ask you, as you sent us this photo, what were the high and low points of this very charmed Pistons regular season?
usually, so for the Tigers, I actually keep a list of season moments, and I did not do that for the Pistons this year. A favorite, like the recent stretch of Cadeless games actually was quite exciting to me. Because they ended up going, I don't actually know off the top of my head, like 10-2 or 10-3 or something. And against good opponents. One of the 3 losses was like mostly healthy OKC in overtime.
It's a great game.
So I think like, despite my love for Cade, actually many of the moments where I was like I felt most in love with this Pistons team were like the ones where I had decided before the game that it was just an auto loss and I wasn't going to care. And then they showed me up, and it was always exciting to see that. Low moments, I'm trying to think. I only have 22 losses to choose from.
I mean, was the collapsed lung, like that is what I was thinking, like just the news of the collapsed lung.
I think they've kind of come out the other side, though. It felt very low in the moment. And I'm sad that he's not going to get All-NBA. But they ended up keeping the 1 seed. They, like, I don't know, proved themselves capable in his absence. So I think it turned out fine. I guess there probably some Karis possessions. Patrick probably read all my low moments at the beginning of this segment.
That's pretty. I mean, given the Jeremy Grant mural of it all, that's pretty good. You have to feel. I mean, the Pistons are like just so charmed. Like I think they were the real, like the team of the season this year, which like must have felt amazing.
Yeah, it was nice. It's funny because like last year I felt like I was constantly checking the standings, and the year before that I would just never check the standings because I knew we were in last place. And same with this year. I had like all the seating stuff kind of shook out the last few days, and I just have not been paying attention to it at all. And it felt amazing.
Do you have, so you won't need to immediately engage in the Shea meet-off until the finals, but I will say the Pistons are, I think one of the reasons some in the league perceive the Pistons as maybe a shaky 1 seed has something to do with their kind of other than Cade, the ability to sort of engage in a meet-off against their team successfully. So I think my question is, other than Cade, who do you see as being able to like rise to the occasion from a meet perspective and get you guys out of the East?
Durin has been quite good in this Cadeless stretch. His I saw something recently, it's not updated for the last couple games, but his true shooting was like 70-something% for this last stretch. And yeah, he's been really good. Danis Jenkins, who is improbably like a capable NBA point guard, hit a bit of a rookie wall a while ago, and that was a low moment. I was kind of freaking out then, but he seems fine now.
Freaking out about the Danis Jenkins rookie wall.
I feel like one of the questions we want to ask is like, who is a guy on your team that like people who don't watch every day just like don't understand? And as I'm going through the Pistons roster, it seems like it's like Cade and then like 11 of these guys.
Yes. Yeah, they're all special little guys in their own way. I do think so. Like, I'm sure the average NBA fan knows generally Asar's deal, but I still think like people don't understand how good he is. Like I saw Zach Lowe like didn't have him on his first team all defense, and that I couldn't believe, because he really, Cade is the best player on the team, but I think Asar like might be the most important. Certainly like just the way this team plays and is designed to play, he is kind of the emblem of it. And like I'm very much an Asar apologist, because I think his like reputation is all defense, no offense. And I think which I don't know, I think like doesn't quite give him enough credit or oversimplifies things, because he really does kind of single-handedly like just change the possession game for the team. And to the extent that like NBA playoff basketball is different from NBA regular season basketball, like one thing this team is just really good at is making that possession math work in their favor, making the margins like just a lot bigger for themselves. And I think he's the reason that they can do that.
Yeah, he's like transformative. Like that OKC game you mentioned, if he doesn't foul out, I'm pretty sure they win that game. Like he was just all over Shea. He's so good.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, he can just be like a solo 7-0 run, 10-0 run. I feel bad that his like the lasting image everyone had of him in the playoffs was that like amazing Brunson shot. But the whole reason it was a game was like the 5 minutes before that, it was just like transcendent Asar. And so, yeah, I think the nice thing about him this season is I don't know if he's fouling less or if I think I've shared my Asar or Thompson twin ref theory, which is that they just like do such physically improbable things that refs just like don't believe that he beat someone to the spot. And I don't know, maybe they do now because he's been able to play more. He's been in foul trouble less. JB Bickerstaff is still prone to just like taking him out at the absolute worst time.
Got to get Javante in there.
Yes.
I kind of love Javante Green though.
So that's possibly a thing to worry about in the playoffs, because that is indeed what happened in Game 6 of the first round last year. But
we got to put you on the spot here.
Yeah.
The Pistons are the 1 seed. They seem to have they put the bike pump in Cade's mouth and reinflated his lung.
Mm-hmm.
He seems fine. Everyone's gonna in the 1-8 series be like, well, Charlotte's pretty good this year if they get Charlotte at 8. But I got to ask, like, what is a rational outcome you would be happy with, and what are your like expectations going in to the playoffs?
I would like them to make the conference finals. So I think they are set up to see Cleveland in the second round, or whoever wins the Cleveland. Is it Raptors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Cleveland.
Oh God, that could actually be kind of a
the Raptors are like
series.
undefeated against the Cavs this season.
Yeah. I think that's actually maybe not a great matchup for them, for the Cavs. They'll probably figure it out, but yeah. So I would like to make the conference finals. That's sort of my goal. But coming into the season, the goal was like win a home playoff game.
Which they didn't do last year, right? They
did
kept
not.
winning at MSG.
They won at MSG and did not win.
Do you want to see the Knicks again to like exercise some demons?
Maybe. I just like don't really care about them that much. Like if it's indeed a good matchup for the Pistons, then I guess so. But I don't know. I don't really have the like. I don't think I really need the catharsis of beating the Knicks, honestly.
You don't think about them
I don't
at all.
think about you at all, New York Knicks.
I gotta say, you're really lining up to like ruin Bill Simmons' life in an amazing way, because if the Pistons beat Con Knipple in the first round, he's gonna freak out. And if the Celtics and Pistons meet in the conference finals, the entire world will be just writing in pen Celtics in 5 over the Thunder in the finals. The Boston media apparatus will come out. And I just got to say, at every step in this playoffs, you will have the Nothing But Respect podcast behind you, and also the Nation. The Nation is with you. Everyone wants the Pistons to win. Does it feel good to be like America's team?
I don't know that we are America's team. I've been trying to figure out the kind of, aside from whatever Simmons and Lowe, like what the general
where
feeling
are you on
about
the
us.
American team spectrum?
Yeah, because like at some point you just become OKC and everyone just like hates you because you're good.
I don't think you guys are there. I think you guys are closer. So if the type of team, like sort of phenotypically that the Pistons are, you can really see clearly in the like prime LeBron dog walking the East era, because this is a team that like a LeBron Cavs team would just like beat in 4 games. And it would be like, oh, fuck, they played team basketball, but then LeBron, So, but in the absence of that, it is hard to say, are you guys the 2015 Hawks? Because there's an air of like, there's an air of Pistons fraud watch, but then there's also an air of like, but I kind of like these guys. And so as a Pistons fan, I could see you being like, well, fuck you. I don't want you to like us if you like us as a underdog story. We're the best team in the East. Or do you want to be hated? So it's a confusing thing, to your point.
Yeah, they're I think they're like a generally ethical basketball team, enjoyable to a neutral fan.
I mean,
I told Harry this, but I don't think I put it in the group chat. I went to a Detroit techno show on Friday.
You did tell me this, yeah.
And every DJ was wearing like Detroit gear. And at one point I had a moment where I was just like listening to these songs and just thinking about Isaiah Stewart and just feeling like in my bones at 1:30 in the club, just like the Pistons are going to win the championship. I had a faintly spiritual experience rotating Isaiah Stewart 360 degrees in my mind.
You were in the astral plane,
yeah,
running Spain pick and roll in the astral plane.
Just going up, people are like pulling out the earplugs as they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Kevin Huerter is on this team. He's better at defense than you would think." So I just want to let you know, I will be with you every step of the way.
That's beautiful.
Detroit versus everybody. A
note on Beef Stew is he did not really play the last playoffs.
Right.
No, yeah, he was out. He's been so good this year. I mean, I love that guy.
Me too.
Like, of all the teams we're going to talk about, I feel like I just want to watch this team play. They're so fun. Like, they just play they're like the Thunder, but if the Thunder were, no disrespect to Tyler Parker, cool. So
yeah,
I'm very pumped.
Exactly. All right, my 3. That I think that's all we got. You are on book leave. The WNBA. Do you have any like just put you on the spot? 90 seconds of WNBA free agency. Because
has anything happened? I've just been on leave the whole time. Which is conveniently timed. So all my colleagues have to pick up the slack of the WNBA news. Like day 1 of leave, I went to like a 10 o'clock Pilates class just because I could. And I walk out and I see Angel Reese traded. And I'm like, I'm not blogging that.
Your time in Chicago is going to be amazing because you're going to get to cover Dejanay and Skylar.
I know. I'm excited that the team
there.
is shaping up to be quite interesting. Even
it's going to be so
without
funny.
Angel.
Do you think when the Valks do their parade, what section of Market Street do you think Gabby Williams will get the biggest pop from? I guess that's sort of a question for both of you.
I could see it right rounding the Safeway, like the big Safeway kind of. You get the
because they're going to the Castro for sure. Like they're not turning down into the Mission.
I was exactly
they're going all the way,
and it's sort of like right before they do the full turn into the Castro, where maybe one of our more like folksy, ninth woman off the bench will get a bigger pop, but I think Gabby will probably get the biggest pop. Right, whatever that is, 16th.
Yeah, the DeBose Triangle area.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Yeah, I guess I should just take those days off in the calendar now. My 3, you should come out. It'll be, the Warriors parade was fun. I think this will be good too. So
yeah,
I do.
Get your head frozen.
Actually want to go to a Valk game this season. So
okay, there you go.
I can scope things out ahead of time.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Get back to book leave. Next time you go to Pilates, let us know so we can just turn the notifications on our phone so we can see when something crazy happens. And yeah, like I said, go Pistons.
Go Pistons.
Parlor game that some of my friends will do occasionally that I did come up with, not to brag, was to pose the question: given the scenario that there is an expert helping you out, every step of the way, but you alone are doing what you need to do, but there is an expert who's sort of like coaching you through it via earpiece. Which would be easier, to land a 747 or to remove somebody's appendix?
think
I would definitely
appendix.
say I watched the rehearsal, and if Nathan Fielder can do it, I believe that I can land a 747 easier than an appendix. I don't even know what would go into the process of removing an appendix.
Oh, they're just like, there's like a tube over here. It's like, cut that tube, don't cut that. Just zip, zip, zip.
It seems easy. No shots at our doctor
Yeah.
listeners, but it seems, I mean, to be
Because like medical school is light work.
well,
Dude,
medical
have you guys
school-
ever had surgery?
Yeah, I've had many.
It seems like it's probably not that hard, right? Like the guy's like, we're just gonna get in there and like do our thing and get out and like we'll get you. It's all good, right?
Mhm.
Super
Yeah, no
easy.
nerves, no pressure, nothing.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the pressure, but it's just like
Dog,
what's-
the body's resilient.
let me just be clear. I think I could do both of them easily. So I think they both seem pretty easy. I think that doing it once, either one would just be, again, fairly doable. And I bring this up, of course, because I will be the one removing Joel Embiid's appendix
Nice.
tomorrow.
You're
In
an
time for
irrational
NBA.
confidence guy.
Yeah. No, I'm joking. We do have Trill Bro Dude of the Ball podcast to talk about. It's funny we asked you to come on and you were like, absolutely. But just so you know, the Sixers are not making the playoffs.
This was before Joel was out.
Yeah, it
if I
was
remember
before Joel
correctly.
was out.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, they had just lost a big game, and I was like, yeah, they suck. So don't get your hopes up. But then Joel had the appendix thing, and I'm like, oh, they really suck.
Mhm.
But they still have a chance.
Okay, we gotta ask what are the? It's been a strange Sixers season. I mean, they're all strange. This has been a really weird one. I remember you compared VJ Edgecombe to Michael Jordan on our podcast, and I still believe that's right. But I want to know, like, what are the high and low points, apex and opposite of the apex of this season?
This is a really interesting.
The high point was the first game of the season.
Yes. No, it was 100%.
It was unironically. We went into Boston. Joel Embiid looked terrible. We still beat the Celtics. VJ had the most points ever for a Sixers rookie in their first game, third all time for a debut in the NBA. And it felt like we had kind of figured things out. That high lasted for like 2 weeks. And then we had a game against the Chicago Bulls, who, I don't know if you guys remember the Demon Bulls early in the season,
course.
but they were a special team before they proved to be an actually terrible team. And we had a game where we were up 25 in the first half, and then we blew it. They came all the way back, kind of exposed pretty much every flaw with this team. And then from that point on, we were just middling for the rest of the season. We beat up on bad teams. We beat who we were supposed to. We lost who we were supposed to. We had guys in and out. Paul George went on a psychedelic vision quest and got suspended for 25 games. And Joel Embiid is just, even before the appendix stuff, had all of these random injuries adding up as he does every single season. Played half the year. If you had told me before the year that Paul George and Joel Embiid would miss half the season again, they would win 46 games and be in the 7th seed, VJ would be one of the 3 or 4 best rookies in the NBA, and Maxey would be an all-NBA player, I would say, amazing season. Great success.
Yeah.
Love to hear that. But the way that it played out was just so strange, with just one after another, as you said, most Sixer seasons do. And then you have the Jared McCain trade thrown in the middle of that. And it just has felt like a really frustrating season from a fan standpoint, because we can't really move on to a new era of Sixers basketball because we have 2 of the biggest, worst contracts in the NBA, but also we're not bad enough to flat out tank. So we're kind of going to just be stuck in the middle until we either run through these contracts or we kind of come up with a miracle way out of them. But once again, if you had told me VJ would have this season 7 seed, Maxey all NBA, I'd be happy with all of those things. It's just, it could never be normal to have a Sixer season.
Yeah, I feel like my experience of watching the Sixers this year is like turning them on in a national TV game and thinking like, oh yeah, Sixers, like they're the 5 seed, like this team is cool. And then watching 10 minutes and thinking like, I thought these guys were good. Like, what the
Right.
fuck is going on here? Like,
good
Dominic
in
Barlow
theory.
is like taking every shot. Like, why is this happening to me?
So Nick Nurse at some point just decided, instead of running like a functional offense or a functional defense, what if we just tried to turn teams over and run
Cool.
I've been saying this all season, and I kind of and I think Nurse was dealt somewhat of a shitty hand, having, you know, Joel Embiid get injured halfway through his first season, and he really has not been quite as available since. And I actually think that, considering the lack of talent in the depths of this roster, he hasn't done a terrible job, but he kind of just does. He's a very stubborn coach.
Yes.
And I think the 2022 Raptors kind of broke his brain when it comes to what wins in basketball, because it seems like the only things that the Sixers really value are long wing athletes that turn teams over and get runouts in the open court and get offensive rebounds. We're always out of position on defense because we overhelp and we let up a ton of open threes. We never can rebound the basketball because we're always out of position on defense because of his defensive scheme. And then on offense, it's kind of on the stars to create their own offense and create everything for everyone. Earlier in the season, we had like basically, like we called it, like they were running like the wishbone, but with dribble handoffs. Like they were just like running out near the perimeter and just lateraling the ball to each other over and over.
Awesome.
And that was kind of successful when the team was shooting 45% from three as a whole. And then that went away, and they just kind of regressed to being this truly mid, like the most mid team in the NBA this year. And I think that it's kind of overlooked that, like, they basically had they might have even had a negative point differential by the end, but it was like right around zero. They were like 15th in offense, 17th in defense. They beat the teams they were supposed to. They lost to the teams they were supposed to. And they are a team that is just above 500, but that's kind of just on the strength of their hot start. So really what this team is the most mid team that you could ever get in the postseason. I think the Portland Trailblazers are the only other one in this whole pool of playoff teams that could even come close, and they have a similar thing going on over there.
I just thought of a high point. I realize the game I paid the most attention to this year was like one of the most like typical Sixers games of all time. It was right after Dan McQuaid died, and they did a tribute to him on the video board, and they were playing the fucking Kings, and they were down by like 15 or some shit in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
And they won on a buzzer beater. And I was just thinking, like, this is like the perfect Sixers game, like just dumb shit forever. And then like they either win or lose at the last second because it's going to be a one possession game kind of no matter what. And thinking like, I get this team now. I don't want to see them ever again, but like this, I'm glad this happened.
That you got the full Sixers experience in that game, which was just like, why are we losing to this team? I think the two sides of the coin are because I said all season they can beat anyone and they can lose to anyone. Like every game I went into, like we might beat the Spurs tonight, or we might lose to the Denver Nuggets without Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, like Cam Johnson. We literally had that game going. I got really good at picking out which players were going to destroy the Sixers to the point where I went to Penn State. And one of the best Penn State players in history, only played for us for one season, was Jalen Pickett. And Jalen Pickett, coming into that game, was just, he's not really had much of an NBA career. You know, he's kind of just been like a fringe rotation guy for his first few years. And I posted and I said, Jalen Pickett is going to have the game of his life. And coming into that game, he was shooting 18% on pull-up threes, they said on the broadcast. And he went 7 of 8 on pull-up threes in this game. And we lost the game in overtime to the Zeke Naji, Jalen Pickett Denver Nuggets on Peacock.
Yes,
and I
watched that shit. It was great.
I was like, and by the way, I just want to point out, most of the season we didn't have one of Joel Embiid, Paul George. Most of our guys were healthy for that game. Like there was no reason and it was on the back of a podcast cycle where everyone was like, the Sixers are getting healthy. They're looking like a real threat in the East. And I was like, please, can we not do this? Like, I know we're the 5 seed right now, but like, if you just ignore us and pretend we don't exist, we do better. So like, if you guys could just never do another podcast cycle, because every time we get a podcast cycle about the Sixers being like a threat to make a run, they then go to Miami and lose one of the most embarrassing games of the season, and then now they end up in the 7th seed instead of the 6th seed, and they have to play in the play-in, and they have to fight their way in now for the right really to get destroyed by either the Celtics or the Pistons this year.
Yeah. You did a great job of both describing this Sixers season, and then also kind of like in the how you are talking about it. You've communicated a lot as well. The other thing I would add about this Sixers team is, lots of people have tortured relationships with their teams, where like their team will be up 10 and a run will happen, and they'll be like, "Oh, we're blowing this game," right? The Sixers fans in my life are the only ones who are right about that every time. Like
it happens all the time. It's literally like every game. Like Patrick said, like if we're down 15, I have a good feeling that we're going to come back and make it a game at the end. And if we're up 15, I know we're blowing the lead, and it's going to be a 3-point game with 2 minutes left.
The Sixers also they have. I oscillate based on, again, like what 8-minute stretch of Sixers basketball I'm watching, to either hitting the boys chat with Dominic Barlow is special, or it's a lot of Dominic Barlow. So what are the players? What are kind of the unsung, or like somebody who's not following this team every day? Like, who are the players that are just sort of unique or notable to the superfan?
So I would say this team is once again, they're just so insanely random. They're the Karis LeVert wheel of teams, where it's just you don't know who on any given, like Andre Drummond has been, for my money, one of the worst veteran players in the NBA since he signed with the Sixers. And then yesterday we put him in to start the second half. And yes, we were playing the Hospital Bucks, and that team, we should have never let that team hang around. But he's just dominating. And I'm like, where did this come from? And like you said, the Dominic Barlow experience has been very similar to that, where like Dom will have a game. Like he had a game against the Clippers earlier this year where he scored like 18 points in the first quarter. And I was like, this is Giannis. Like where did this guy come from? Where has he been all my life? And then he'll go 2 weeks and he will be kind of just missing. Like occasionally he'll get an offensive rebound or a steal, but like you don't really see him all that often. So the thing I will say about the Sixers is that like when you watch like the best teams in the NBA, I think there's two kind of role players that succeed on these teams nowadays. And one of them is like the Celtics kind of role player, who are guys that just like can space the floor out to the half court line and move the ball and know when to cut and can offensive rebound and do all these things. And then there's the Detroit Pistons style of role player, where they just like punch you in the mouth and they get steals and they dominate you on the glass and they suffocate you on defense all night. And the Sixers somehow have an entire roster of role players who all think they're the best player on the team. Like, I've never seen a roster. I think the only guy I would even argue, the two guys on this roster, I would argue are just like somewhat normal, if not limited role players, are Adem Bona and Jabari Walker. And Jabari has not been in the rotation because Nick Nurse never has any consistencies in his rotations. It's literally, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Yesterday, going into the game, the starters we had in that game, I just want to put into context. Joel Embiid has been injured for 2.5 years. He has played like 30% of those games in 2.5 years. The starters going into yesterday played 25 minutes together all season.
Awesome.
And
game 82.
In game 82. And then Andre Drummond had to replace Bona because he was so terrible in the first half, because he's just another random guy where once again, you can watch him and he'll have 4 blocks and he'll get all these offensive rebounds and these putbacks and these dunks and he looks amazing. And then the next game, he's not an NBA player. So the second half, they start Drummond in his spot. So I looked up that lineup to see how many minutes they played all season. All season after yesterday, they played 25 minutes together. I'm like, how is this possible? And it's also funny because it doesn't make sense to me because it's like Nick Nurse plays VJ and Maxey the most minutes
Right.
of any players in the NBA.
Two of those are nailed to the ground. You would think that
The first 2 months of the season, they were averaging 40 minutes a game. VJ Edgecombe was playing the most minutes of any rookie since LeBron James. Like, I just don't understand how this team can have no consistency in the lineup, no consistency in the rotations. And then on top of that, they basically, like you said, like if you want to talk about who the role players are on this team, it just depends on who it is when you tune in. Like Quentin Grimes can be one night, Kelly Oubre can be another night, and then there are stretches where both of those guys just completely derail the offense and ruin any sort of chance that we have in any given game.
Yeah, it's remarkable as I'm thinking about like which players in this team would drive me crazy and who's like an underappreciated gem. And it's like they all exist somewhere in like both, but mostly the driving crazy part.
That's exactly how I would describe it. It's like it's a team of guys who all think that they're the best player on the team.
Okay, I gotta ask. What is a rational outcome?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're the 7 seed that you would be happy with. Like what could you see? What's like the best case and most likely way that this season ends for them?
So I actually think people will think I'm going to lose my mind if they lose in the first play-in game and then they win the second one and we get a podcast cycle of, you know, this Sixers team and these Pistons, they're not, no, that's not happening. I just want to get that out of the way. Like the Pistons have actually owned us all year. Now Maxey didn't play in the last game when they beat us. I don't even think Cade played in that game. Yeah, Cade and Maxey were both out for that game. But the Pistons have been a terrible matchup because the Sixers can't rebound. They're not going to be able to score on them. The ideal outcome for me personally is winning the game against the Magic tomorrow. It won't be a blowout because the Sixers don't blow teams out. Like they don't shoot enough threes to blow teams out where like, and they don't, and when they do generate threes, once again, it's for like Dom Barlow or Andre Drummond in the corner, who unironically has been like one of the 3 most reliable shooters on the Sixers this season, which is not a good sign because he had 18 made threes in his whole career coming into this season. So the happy outcome I would have with that, there's two outcomes that I would be happy with. Just get destroyed in the 2 play-in games and get this over with. Give me a 6% chance of getting a top 4 pick. And I'm sorry to the rest of the league. OKC might get another lottery pick, but that's not my problem. The other outcome is that my preferable outcome is they beat the Magic tomorrow, on Wednesday because the Flyers play a game at home. So we're the first ever, this is how normal the Sixers are. We're the first ever 7-8 team playing on a Wednesday because the Magic blew that game. It is the bad vibe off really tomorrow with the Magic and the Sixers. Yeah. I think their vibes are worse for us. They're just more talented than us when Joel isn't playing. But the preferred outcome for me would be win that game and then go into Boston and win game 1 and put the fear of God into that. Yes. Now, the rest of the series, whatever happens, happens. But weirdly enough, and I know we didn't play them with Jason Tatum, so obviously they're going to be a better team in the playoffs, and they're much, much better than us. But weirdly enough, I've never went into a Celtics Sixers game this year and been like, we have no chance against this team. It's one of the few teams that the Knicks and the Celtics are weirdly enough the 2 teams in the Eastern playoffs that I think they're the 2 best teams, but I also feel like the Sixers match up better with them than they match up with the Hawks or the Cavs or the Pistons, even though I think those teams are worse. So I actually think if you can go in there, steal game 1 and then maybe lose in 6, I'm totally fine with that outcome. I would just like to have a moment like we had in the first game of the season when VJ was going off and Maxey was going off and we won in Boston. Like that would be great just to have another moment like that.
Well, you know why that is the Celtics are built for the playoffs. The Knicks are built for the playoffs. And the Sixers are built for the 2023 playoffs.
Sure.
So it's sort of like kind of they match up in that way.
I don't even know if they're built for the 20. I think they're almost built for like the 1987 playoffs. Like when the game was just like that, no one shot enough, because they play offense and defense like the 3-point line doesn't exist, which is why I actually think it's really funny that Daryl Morey is now complaining about. I'm like, you're the guy who did. You're complaining about corner threes. You literally are the guy that invented this style of play. Like, you ruined the league if
He's
you
Oppenheimer,
think that's... Yeah, exactly. You are the one who did this and got us here if you think that's ruining the game. So yeah, but once again, they overhelp on defense, like the 3-point line doesn't exist. They don't create enough good threes and they don't take enough threes, but they will occasionally have a game where they make their threes and they lock up on defense in clutch situations and they look like a real team. So I'm just hoping that we get 1 or 2 of those when they actually matter here in the next week or two before they're eliminated.
Yeah, beautiful. And who knows? Maybe they won't be eliminated. You know, maybe maybe Joel Embiid's appendix was holding him back, and like that's the thing. Like maybe he'll get a Harry Krinsky style surgeon who's just competent and will just be like, we took out your appendix and the secret organ that no one knew about that was sapping your powers, and then all of a sudden it's like his knees are healthy. He's not going to break his orbital bone this year, or if he does, it'll be the other one this time to balance things out, and that'll give him even more harmony.
Sure.
And like, maybe he was just resting all year. Like, I think, you know, you got to be an optimist about this. Like, and now that Paul George has figured out which psychedelics to take or not take, allegedly, it's like, maybe he'll be fine, you know?
So Paul George is either going to have a surprise, like Unk still got it, like playing game where it's like, man, Paul George, like we really should appreciate Paul George more. Or he's going to have the most laughably terrible game of all time and be like, this is why we don't trust Paul George. Because he goes back, he's kind of the perfect guy for this team, because he's kind of, in this later stage of his career, he's kind of the walk-in play-in tournament. Like,
yes,
where it's just like, if he's on your team, he's not going to play enough, but when he does play, he'll give you enough hope that you think that, he's really figured it out. And then when you get far enough into this season, he's probably going to lay an egg at the worst moment, which really, we're so used to that at this point. That's pretty much been the last decade of Sixers basketball. So just get into the playoffs. Just like that would be a win for me this year. Get it into the playoffs, unless it saves everyone's job, because I would like a lot of people to be fired, and I would like this organization to move in a different direction with a new front office and maybe head coach.
That's super exciting. Yeah. Oh shit, we didn't get to talk about the Epstein stuff, but unfortunately, this one's coming to a close. But I think we'll just have to assume that like it's all good. Like those media are just talking about.
Don't worry.
Strategy.
Don't worry about it. And I just want to put out there, like I've said this before and I'll say it again. I'm sure you guys can relate to this. Seeing all the Epstein stuff go mainstream, like I have posts from 2021 when the Sixers were good, when they were the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, talking about the Sixers ownership's connection to the Epstein stuff. So I'm just saying, if you're only posting about it now because you're mad that the team is bad, you're a front runner. Okay. I've been in the files. I'm not in the files. Please don't, please erase that part of the podcast. Wait, no. I've known about the files for quite some time. And if you really had your third eye open, you would have already known this, and you would have been criticizing them even when they were good.
No, wow. I learned to show your bona fides, Trill. I learned about you posted a meme again, probably 2021 that was like, never ask a woman her age, a man his salary, and what the Portland Trailblazers owner was doing in Africa.
God,
if anybody is looking for a little 10-minute Wikipedia search, that is some very, very strange behavior.
Something about elephant bones or something like that, if I remember correctly.
It's like a combination exporting elephant bones Me Too situation.
Is this the new guy?
No, this is
the old one.
The old
Paul
owner.
Allen.
Paul Allen, yeah, that's why he's also Epstein.
He was in elephant chat rooms showing
feet. Yeah.
It's
No,
sort of
it literally, if I remember correctly, it is his wife was like sexually harassing the bodyguards that they were using to illegally sneak elephant tusks out of Africa.
awesome.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Yeah. So just give that a Google for the good people at home.
Insane.
And then also go check out the while you're up. Yeah, Patrick, I'm telling you, it's fucking nuts.
It's an insane story.
Check out
one of the entities involved is something called Vulcan Incorporated.
Yeah. Wow. This is bringing back memories.
Okay, this is tight.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, shout out to the Round Ball Rock guys, because they were the ones that put us on to like all this crazy shit. They were very ahead of the curve with some of the evil owner stuff.
Yes.
They used to have Matt from Chapo on the podcast every year, and they would talk about all the evil things that the NBA owners were doing. And it was, if you haven't listened to those episodes, I highly recommend
Really
them.
good.
Yeah.
So, okay.
well,
Thank you, Trill.
Yes, thank you.
As
Trill.
always.
Take care.
Up next, Jacob Rosenberg, who experienced the NBR bump and is now an editor at New York Magazine. But I guess before we get into the Hornets, what stories will you assign first when you get hired at the New Yorker in 2 weeks?
My plans are, as you guys know, ultimately as an editor, I'm there for the writer. Like as an editor, I'm just there to I'm here to hear their voice. I'm there to hear their voice, and then as soon as they file, tell all my colleagues that actually this is a piece of shit, and then rewrite everything behind their back, just like every good editor should do. No, I'm a good editor, but yes, I'm looking forward to my time in the New Media Sun. Thank you for the NBR bump. I mean, it meant a lot in the interview. They mentioned it, so.
I mean, of course. I was thinking about this because you've had a meteoric rise over the last month and a half. Who has had a better spring, you or LaMelo Ball?
There's no question about that. Based off of, I just want to say, one of the main differences between me and LaMelo Ball is a lot of people were like, LaMelo isn't there to be a winner. He's not, when he's in the spotlight, he can't really handle the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
That's not been true about LaMelo Ball. I will say that the number of shakings per day that I'm going through right now of fear, higher than I imagined. But LaMelo's kind of ruthless out there. And I think that LaMelo is so filthy and so good that even the most LaMelo haters are trying to pretend that they were on the bandwagon from the start. And I see them. I see them from afar, pretending that they knew that he was great. And they're trying to pretend they're they're doing the Moose celebration, they're on the Charlotte Hornet bandwagon. But we know who's on the bandwagon because it was 2 people. The bandwagon was empty. It was the emptiest bandwagon.
You got a list of names, or more accurately, list of name.
Yeah, I've got a list of name. And
it's just our lawyer, Ox Sportello.
I was about to say.
the only one.
Yeah. Ak, I'm sure that him and I could, when you say Ak like that, by the way, you sound like you're an Aki, you're 2 seconds away from being the most annoying Aki way guy. Type shit. Also, we did. Sorry, I'm not going to get on an aside, but I just will say, because of the type shit thing, the Papo podcast was one of the most important documents that's ever been produced. The best spring was because I got to listen to that. But
you were, you were a shadow editor basically of the idea for me to email Mr. 2004 was birthed in a group chat with you. So. I mean,
yes, I was listening late at night. Okay, but I'll try to stick to Hornets. I know I can be a little digressive. LaMelo's incredible, and he's looking very, very good. And I think that he's ready for the pressure. So in terms of playoff stuff, I'm a little concerned specifically about Bam. I've not watched a moment of Miami Heat basketball. Proud member of the non-Miami Heat watcher.
Mm-hmm.
You're not missing much.
Don't know about Heat culture. Don't associate with Miami. I'm my entire vibe is the opposite of Miami. I'm in the club I'm in 11 in Miami reading a Kindle. I'm not ready for that life. I don't know what to do down there. And so I don't associate with that town or anything about them except for the 2 positive things I've heard, which is I heard that Bam is really good and I'm concerned about it. And I'm concerned because we have no big men. Not really. Moose and Kalkbrenner don't really protect the rim like that. And I think that in a non-regular season mindset, a big man could just Jordan, Detroit, when he decided to just turn it on, he was just yeah, I'm an adult man and you were a 7th grader. And he just destroyed us. And I think that could happen with
with the caveat that we're talking about the 9-10 game and who knows what's going to happen. I have some good news for you about Bam, which is that he's a tiny man, like incredible basketball guy, really smart, defensive, like, you know, can run around and do everything. But this whole thing is that he's like 6'9" and incredibly strong and like very smart. But like he's not going to put his ass in the basket and score 83 on you because
he's a deltoids merchant. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just have to be honest with you, as someone who avoids all statistics when it has to do with basketball. Like I don't even know. Like when people were doing the 6'7" meme, I'm like, what does that have to do with the Hornets? Why is this coming near me? Like, I don't even want to know. I don't want to know a single stat about my team. Like I don't want to know about any of that. I'm stunned that Bam is small. Because from the outside, as like the dumbest NBA fan but loudest, I thought the man was easily like smaller than Wemby, but willing willing to do violence at such a level that the height would equal out.
Like you're imagining him a beef stew build.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Exactly like beef stew. Like I think that you kind of want a stat that's like height plus violence. And I thought that like he had a high H plus V kind of situation. So anyways, I'm
Bam without shoes, 6 feet 8 and 3/4 inches. So he's fine.
Basically the same height as me. Basically the same height as a short king like me. So
that's facts. We gotta ask. This question is actually going to be kind of easy for you. What were the high and low points of this Hornets season for you? Because really, it's like there's a low point and then there was a high point, and they both kind of lasted for months. Is how I read it.
Low point most of the beginning of the season. I will say high point of all high points. Honestly, I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina. The fucking Greensboro Swarm won the G League. that was number one high point of the season.
Who's on that?
Oh, they got the white guy with the long. He
Clemson,
looks like a fancy
Clemson
dog.
Guy.
That guy.
Yes, but they got Ryan whatever's Hall or something like that. I can't remember his name. I'm not going to remember a G League player name.
Okay, yeah,
I'm just watching one game of the season and celebrating.
Yeah.
And they won Summer League, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We won summer like this. We are the greatest mid team of all time. Summer League champs, G League champs, play in. That's the greatest mid team of all time. Like we got the treble of being mid.
You're like the Chicago 90s Chicago Bulls of the 2020 Chicago Bulls.
Yes. Exactly. Like we're just many things that I think like when I think about peak North Carolina, it will be this year. Like this is what it's all about. So that was a highlight. The other highlight of the season was LaMelo has a new pass that he does that I'm very obsessed with, which is, he kind of does the skip to Malou 3-pointer, right?
Yes.
Where he puts one leg up.
Yep.
I don't remember this happening in other seasons, but maybe I'm an idiot. But what he does, that's my favorite thing in the world, is he fakes a 3-pointer now, where he puts one leg up, and then because he doesn't jump when he does 3-pointers, he still has the other leg down. So he fully goes to shoot and passes it off of one leg.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Which is one of my favorite basketball things I've ever seen invented. Low point, whenever Grant gets in the game. Hate seeing that dude. Not a fan of him. I've come to accept, despite his criminal nature, that Miles Bridges is a nasty, filthy dunker, and it's really satisfying. And he is a good player. But yeah, Grant, I hate it. And then honestly, there was just that random Celtics game recently was a pretty low point where I was just this is what it's like to play an actually good team. This not so fun. This is not as fun as I'd like it to be.
One other micro low point that I honestly feel a little crazy, but I guess ultimately happy that it didn't, end up being as big of a nadir as I was expecting, was in the high point of this win streak when LaMelo just ran over another car.
Yes.
I cannot believe that there was just no ramifications for that. Like it was like he just like fucking ran over a car in Charlotte, and then it was just like, oh yeah, like he's crazy.
That I think y'all saw it, but like the Musa clip where he's like, I would never ride in a car with LaMelo.
Yes.
I was like, man, everyone can see that this is a huge, huge problem.
Yeah.
That was a micro low point. I think that the other thing, see, this is as a non-stats guy, this is what SportsCenter used to be like. for me, another micro low point is I don't like LaMelo's 3-point celebration with the thing where he does the thing up the arm. I think he needs to change that.
Yeah.
And another micro low point for me as a man who hates all statistics and is basically dumb is y'all have never experienced this probably, but as someone who's never watched an NBA team that's been anywhere close to the playoffs, I've never had to do math at the end of the season. And that shit was terrible. Like normally like post March Madness, I'm completely like, I'm just vibing out. I'm like catching a Hornets game if it's on, but I'm like disappointed in UNC and thinking about that. I was like trying to do math to see where we were seated. My experience of the NBA playoffs before this is entirely like someone's like, a friend texts me, hey, do you want to get a beer? These two teams are playing. I look at the thing and I'm like, that's who's in the playoffs? Fascinating. Like, and I go to a bar and I just begin watching the playoffs as if completely fresh. Completely fresh. Like, I didn't think about seeding, but this time I'm like, it's like I'm walking around in the fucking beautiful mind. I think I texted you all this. I'm like, John Nash. I'm like, oh, the 8th seed to the 7th. I'm like, this sucks. This sucks. I hate all this shit. So that was a low point too. And if we win on Wednesday, I think that'll be a low point too. It'll be like a high, like it'll be a really high point because LaMelo, like we'll have got into the playoffs, but like then we'll just be like in the playoffs, and you know that's that thing.
That's usually how it works.
Then I'm like,
well, no, you have to win twice.
I know, but like if we win. Then there's gonna be so much pressure.
There was a second where I was like, did you just break it to Jacob that they're going to have to win?
Yeah, they have to win twice, man.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to win, and then I'm going to be all nervous.
Right.
The Hornets have been a place of complete calm for me.
Mm-hmm.
So if they win on Wednesday, then there's going to be too much hype. Then they're going to have to win again. I don't know. I don't like anyways, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I'm a little neurotic. So I'm nervous now, but I think if we get into the playoffs, I'll be happy. But if we get one win and then there's too much hype, I think that'll be a low point for me.
You're the first play-in person we're talking to, and so this is sort of a tricky thing to game out. But what's like the rational best case you can see for the Hornets?
We win.
Okay, be more specific. You mean the championship or what?
Yeah. Okay. Here's my best case scenario. We get into the playoffs again, and kind of, I think we need to beat the Heat in games that feel satisfying. Like it can be a blowout, or it can be like a close, gritty win but it can't be just like a smooth, like 10-point here, 8-point here kind of situation. I want something that makes me feel alive a little bit. And then I'm like, okay. It's kind of that thing, like, you know, when you see like another kid you're in school with, and he just kind of like, he's like in class, and you just see him like sort of like stand up, and you notice since last summer he's sort of grown 4 inches. You're like, oh shit, that's a man over there. Yeah. Like I kind of want that's a man moment for my team. Like, oh, this isn't cute anymore. That's an adult team. So I would like that from the play-in. Then from the play-in into like
the other part of the play-in, yeah,
into the actual playoffs. Let's say we win the play-in, we get into the playoffs. Here's my highest aspiration: I'd like to win 2 games. That's best case scenario. I'd like to win 2 games in the playoffs,
and you'll either be playing Detroit or who's
it'll
the
be
2
Detroit because they're 9-10. They can only be 8.
Oh, right. So you'll be playing Detroit.
I'd like for LaMelo to score 50 plus in one of those games.
Nice. I like it.
And I honestly would like for Knipple to be fine, but not that good. Okay. I'd like for LaMelo to go for 50 to 70. Mm-hmm. And I'd like for Knipple to be like, fine, 15.
Okay. Yeah. Gets picked on defense.
I just want to I had fun on this podcast. I like hanging out with you guys. I'm not good at watching the NBA, and I appreciate being part of the process. But that's my hopes for my team. And then also just the last thing I'll say on sort of highest hopes for the thing. If we beat Detroit, like I just wanted to beat Detroit early, those 2 games. Like I wanted it to be like one of those wins to come early enough where it's not just are the Hornets good, but there's a little are Detroit fakers timeline. I just want a little.
You want to induce fraud watch.
I want to induce fraud watch.
Beautiful.
And I would have liked it to be against the Knicks. I would like a Jalen Brunson fraud watch based off my team.
Oh, that does sound nice.
That must feel amazing.
Yeah, I've never done that, but that would feel like that, like a SportsCenter graphic of the stats of LaMelo versus Jalen Brunson. That's the dream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's the dream.
You want to see a rest of team somewhere in a graphic. For Jalen Brunson.
Yes.
Yes, I want rest of team for both my boys, like for both Jalen Brunson and.
Speaking of your boy, could LaMelo outmeet Shea?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, I think that I'm going to be dead honest with you guys. I think that LaMelo might have average on that. I think that
might have average on that.
I think he's more of a personality guy. Like, just maybe I'm just projecting. I think he's a
I
personality
see what
guy.
you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
There is something about like it's not in a the Emily Dickinson like tell all the truth but tell it slant. Like that would that you would need that for a meet off. Like you would I think LaMelo could like in a kind of like a more angular meet off could maybe best Shea, but if it's just like
pure
complete two unstoppable object, unmovable force running into each other, I do see though LaMelo does have some practice running things over.
Yeah,
he understands Newtonian collisions at a level.
He does
disturbingly so.
Do you guys think that LaMelo like played with cars as a kid? Like, do you what do you think it is?
There's something funny with him where like he was this like figure of fascination. He was almost like a child star, like a figure of fascination because of his dad and his brother since he was like a tiny teenager. And like guys like that, I think about them coming into the league as like disasters or like they just kind of don't know how to be normal guys. And he's been like a better player than I expected for sure. Like there's something just kind of like he was like a meme player to me for so long. And like you do got to hand it to him. He just kind of is a star, except like the one place his like precociousness and like raised as a rich kid in LA shows up is his, let's just say Grand Theft Auto style relationship to the red light as a concept.
Yeah. I do think that sort of synthesizes like he's a meme player, but like now that we live in an actual meme world, like where memes
he's able to enact
like
mimetic damage on the real world by driving stuff into it.
Yes. By driving stuff into it.
Yeah.
The one other thing I would love, like the one other thing I'm really excited about for the playoffs that I've never experienced is I've never like really scouted another team as an NBA fan. This is like a huge part of being a college basketball fan. It's a huge part of like my days. My uncle played defensive line at Alabama. It's a huge part of like football stuff.
Wow.
You're getting knee deep into the forums, some weird websites, scouting the other teams. So I'm looking forward to doing that once I learn that Bam and his height is and whatever the fuck.
Right.
And
developing, you're going to, hopefully you guys make it into the playoffs, developing like real animosity toward the guys on the other team, like specific, just like either.
Oh my God.
Like
yeah.
Duran would be my guess is it's going to be like, God, that is a guy is a motherfucker.
I'm going to have whole like genuine insane conspiracy theories. I'm not joking around about this, about him and the refs. Like every single time I'm like, I'm not one of those guys to talk about the refs. But when I get going, once I get going downhill, it's pretty easy for me. So.
Yeah. Like our mutual friend, Eamon Whalen, thinks that like Jamal Murray is like the worst player in the NBA because of Wolves Nuggets stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm excited to see where this goes for you. And I hope it does go because getting into the playoffs as a 9 seed is difficult. So if there's any other players whose heights you want to know, you have like 3 minutes before we have some guys named Tom on.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just look up Miami Heat roster.
Oh, you know what? Can I say something about Miami? I
please.
wanted to say this earlier, and I think it's important. I was at a party many years ago for a crypto nation state called Praxis, where they were
my God.
we're going to create a nation state somewhere in like Croatia or something, allegedly. And I was like a +2 to this party. And I met a guy there who looked exactly like you would think he looked. And he were chopping it up, and he's talking to me about how much he loves Miami and how he was employee number 4 at maybe I'll have to bleep that, but he was employee number 4. Can imagine the kind of famously the tranche of employees that were ejected from the company for rampant sexual harassment. If you guys remember this, it was the core group of people. And he looks at me and he says, you know, the sixth borough of New York is Miami. And I just think it was such an incredible thing to say about Miami that I have not been able to. Wow. Anytime you talk about you not knowing about Miami, the idea that there's somebody out there being like the sixth borough of New York is Miami.
That is stunning.
Yeah,
that is so good.
Yeah,
the sixth borough of New York is Miami. When people say that about Philly, like I like him sitting down with like there's like a meeting of all the guys who say something is the sixth borough. There's like a Philly guy. And then like out of the shadows, there's like the rarest one of them all, the guy who believes it's the sixth borough is Miami. Yeah. My one question, so I looked up Miami's roster. I knew Andrew Wiggins was on there. Easy. Tyler Hero, I knew about him because he's one of the most annoying men in the world from afar. Okay, here's two names I've heard about that seem like Shadow Realm versions of other players. Davion Mitchell, not Donovan Mitchell. Nikola Jovic, not Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
I'm just asking for the record, are either of those players good?
No.
Long pause.
No.
Pause.
Davion was a Kings flameout who's found a second life in Miami, and I really like him, but he's like the world's tiniest man. Incredibly dogged, like on-ball defender who is 6 foot flat with a minus wingspan. Incredible little guy.
Okay.
I'm excited for you, and I really hope the Hornets make it. We do have to kick you out because
please kick me out.
Our Nuggets guys are here, but thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And
Bye.
We'll see you soon.
Let's go, Knicks. We are joined by Noah Colwyn, Knicks superfan, friend of the podcast. I'm joined, of course, by Patrick. Noah, how are we feeling about the Knicks?
Honestly, fine. At peace.
Dude, that sounds bad. That sounds like I just asked you how you feeling about your divorce, and you're like,
I mean, visitation's a bitch, but I would say, I think the main thing is that like I just like I don't know, like does anybody? Last season, the records are about the same, but last year the Knicks won way fewer games in the regular season against good teams. And this year they beat the Nuggets, they can beat real teams when they care. And it does seem to me that whatever it is, like I feel like there's this whole discussion about the fit and whatever that to me feels just like on an eye test to kind of miss the point, which is that like these guys don't give a fuck about the regular season.
Not at all.
They do not care. And I'll be honest, I don't mind that. But it does I'm preparing for like a lot of cortisol spikes. I'm preparing for a lot of like, essentially to suffer like 50 million heart attacks in the span of a month because because we don't know. Like I don't know what to trust, what to distrust. Like it all just feels so unknown, especially because they had these injuries in the latter part of the season that have made it kind of hard to get a picture of even what is like a functional lineup going to be when, for example, like Deuce was out, this last part of it. And he's so important, but yeah, I'm at peace. I'm fine.
Yeah, to me, the contradiction at the heart of the Knicks is that they have this like incredibly strong, coherent, like veteran core who, like you said, like they've treated the regular season as like the thing you have to do to get to the playoffs, which I think is broadly correct. And like, every week there's been some freak out, which basically boils down to like, yeah, Bridges and Anunoby are only going to try for 4 out of like a 6-game period because they understand that the thing that matters is winning in April. But like, also, core to their success appears to be Mitchell Robinson and Deuce, which are like not veterans and have nothing to do with those guys. And so like, I sort of just wonder like what that balance, especially with Brown, is going to look like in the playoffs.
I think Brown has done such a good job of just like constantly adjusting. Like it just like he's playing with lineups, he's doing a lot of stuff, and it really does seem that like I just don't. Like it seems like he was a clear upgrade over Tibbs at this point to me. But that's mostly like eye test and the fact that like there isn't this stubborn bullshit and the players aren't bitching to the New York Post and so on. At the same time, to part of what you're getting at, I guess, like, I think that there is this, the sense of like turning it on and getting together. Like, I just don't know if you actually can't, like, is that how it works? Because like typically the teams that win a championship are not teams that like suddenly turn it on. And so then it's like, all right, well, if they're not winning a championship, are they getting to the Eastern Conference Finals? Like, is that like a more interesting kind of goal for a team with these quirks, let's say? And that to me is like, or getting to the finals even, getting through the Eastern, getting through the conference finals. And I think that's a challenge this year, especially now that Cade is coming back, and we'll see how he adjusts. Like, it's scarier. It did not look this scary at the beginning of the season to me, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Well, not having Tyrese Halliburton around to do bad stuff to you, that must feel incredible.
Yeah, it is a little bit nice, I can't lie. Sorry that happened to him, etc. But the longer I don't have to think about him, it's sort of like the real Taliban. The longer I don't have to think about it, the more it can't hurt me.
Well, and much like no, we don't need to go down that road. Okay, we have a sort of set questionnaire that we're going to ask everyone in this mega preview, and we're not all going to do it in the same order because you've actually given us a good segue. We sort of want to ask, like, do you think your team can win the title? And what's like a rational outcome that you'd be happy with if you're not a title or bust guy, which just sounds
okay.
Like
so for me, title is still plausible. It's like a 5% chance. Like, it's just so unlikely, and everything has to work. But it's still up there. Like, it's that's a more real chance than like 27 teams.
Absolutely.
And then at the same time, I want them to reach the finals. And I think that like essentially the road to the finals just goes through the Pistons. I don't think the Cavs are real. I don't think that James Harden fixes their playoff problems.
Good sentence.
Just I'll leave it like that. I do think the Pistons are real. I think that they're very scary. I think that though they have like this, they have the one problem that everybody talks about them having, which is what they have, which is like who does stuff besides Cade offensively. And we'll see if that will out. We'll see if that's like something that can get you through the playoffs. It's kind of untested. Because last year was just like a different stage of the Pokemon than they're at right now.
What's your, because one of the other funny parts about the Knicks is like you and the Celtics with the Tatum Achilles tear in that game, like, to me, you guys are like cosmically playoff bound. And if you see each other again, like it will be a kind of demon exercising for one way or the other. It'll either be the Celtics, returning the favor or whatever.
I don't want to sound cocky here.
No, please.
But I think the Celtics are regular season merchants. I think that they have like an incredible system for winning games in the regular season, and that's like not a small thing. It's not a thing to sneeze at. Like, I do think that they are like a minimum second round team, like, I just don't feel like that's deniable.
Right.
Like, you look at it. At the same time, I don't believe a team that has Vooch playing the minutes that he's going to have to play in the playoffs is like actually a team that like the Knicks are going to, I don't believe that. I don't believe Tatum's at full strength. I think that the Celtics are awesome, and that like next year they're going to be fucking scary because they will do something in the off season. And before this season, who's that guy? I don't care about him. Walsh, like, oh, that guy, like, I don't care about him. Now I have to care about them. That sucks. They're good. Like, the Celtics will be a good team. Just this time round, I'm not that worried about them.
You're not worried about Peptide Pritchard?
No. I mean, like, yes, because he's like, he has like Neesmith energy to me. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I can imagine having a sleep demon like him, but I'm just not scared of them. Sorry. It's the Pistons scare me. The Pistons are fucking scary. And I think the Pistons could win a ring. I think the Pistons are like, it's like I'm buying on them.
Yeah, I feel like the Knicks beat them, but that was such a close series last year, and I feel like Brunson if Brunson doesn't do like 7 or 8 like nasty tricks to get Asar fouled out of a couple games, like some of those last second ones could have gone a different way.
I mean, it's that, the fucking like Josh Hart, I think got away with like a really clear end of game foul. There's there's stuff. At the same time though, like the Pistons put themselves in a position to lose those games partly because of like stuff that isn't totally resolved. Like, do I think Asar is going to foul as much as he did in that series? No. But like, okay, like you solve for Cade, you were able to like bottle him up or whatever. Like it's a close game in the fourth quarter, and then you just start setting traps and like you start doing stuff to like squeeze the fact that they don't have like tons of playmakers, and that like you can have Mitch in for good, like just whatever it is that whatever the plans are. Like I just feel like the Knicks have depth to like keep it really fucking competitive, or at least or like competitive tilt favor Knicks. Like I actually do think the Knicks still have advantages in that matchup, even though I think the Pistons are probably better positioned to win a championship, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I buy that. I got to ask, who is a guy in your team that drives you insane?
Josh Hart these days.
That's what Papo 2004 said the same thing. I think
it's not an original take. It's like it's one of those things where like it's a mild calculator rat take. But it is a little like I don't feel his minutes are giving me grief these days.
Yeah.
Sort of the other side of that coin, who is a guy on your team that people who don't watch as much just like kind of misunderstand? I feel like both of these questions were designed. Mikal, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
because everyone seems to be driven crazy by him, but then I watch.
It's
and, like,
just the trade.
This guy's
it's
awesome.
just the trade, and it's just the trade, and like the Knicks players' defense of him is actually just like it's what I would have said before, which is that when he's on the fucking Suns and he's on the Nets, like shoot the ball, shoot the ball, shoot the ball, shoot the ball. Like that's his fucking job on those teams. Like that's not his job on the Knicks. And his job on the Knicks is to do what you saw in the series last year against the Celtics. It is to kill Jason Tatum dead. It is to tie him to 4 pickup trucks and have them drive in different directions in the last minutes of a basketball game. That is his fucking job. And if he does that job, then like, great. I don't give a fuck. Like, oh, he like doesn't make the threes with the same reliability. It's like, yeah, he's not getting into a rhythm as much. Like, it's just not like, it's just the way it goes. And I find that like, yeah, it's not, I would love it if he was just like the most efficient, 18 points that you ever saw in a game. But like, that's just not who he is right now. And what he is like something that actually helps the team win games, win more games than they lose. And and it's just like the discussion about him is totally outsized, I think, to like the discourse. And I know that like he actually drives Knicks fans who do watch games crazy, but I feel that like the Knick fan performance of Mikal Bridges hate has now like radiated outward, and people, simple ape-like creatures that they are, just like parrot that shit back.
That does make sense. The other thing about Bridges that I think was his like, I cannot believe he did this, was the sort of brief but highly potent media cycle about him adding a hitch to his shot. That was like the most, other than a few recent things that certain NBA players have done, that is one of the more insane PR cycles I've seen. To be like, yeah, I'm actually making my shot more fucked up because being the best shooter in the NBA was actually like kind of a problem. So I'm going to add a little hitch. Like I couldn't believe it, but he has, and then he like shot, whatever came out of the gate of that season, missed like, I think he shot like 25% from 3 out of the gate, but now he is, you're right. He's a good shooter.
He's a good shooter. And also like the Knicks have like, it's like he doesn't need, it's like, oh, like who's the other wing? It's fucking OG Anunoby, who is a great shooter, who is at this point probably a more reliable shooter from 3, at least when he's in the right spot, like when he's in the corner, etc. And it's like, all right, then fine, because then the other guys are Jalen Brunson. And if Cat's out there, then great. You've got 4 people who can like credibly be a threat from 3 on the floor at the same time. And that was, I mean, my impression, my Philistines understanding of Leon Rose's theory of the Knicks roster is mostly that, like that essentially if you have people who can shoot from everywhere, then that's that will win you some basketball games.
What I like about the Bridges and Anunoby thing specifically is like, this idea of roster construction for a particular opponent. Like Tim Connolly famously has built the Wolves basically to defeat his previous creation, the Nuggets. And like the Knicks, like you said, are like purpose built in a lab to beat the Celtics.
Yes.
And anytime this happens, what happens is you make this perfect antidote and then like a better team rises to take their place. And it's like, oh shit, now we have to deal with the Pistons, or like now we have to deal with the Thunder if you're the Wolves or whatever.
Now we have to deal with ISIS.
I do think though that like part of why that should be okay though is that like you don't have to be Sam Presti to then leverage that into a subsequent situation where it's like, well, we've built a good team. Like, you know, if they're built to beat a certain kind of team, yes, but like if we've done our jobs well, then we can retool it. You know, we can make it better. Like I think that like the Knicks are going to have some real challenges ahead in that question, because like, you know, Jalen Brunson is a small guard, fast approaching 30 years of age. And, you know, it's like, there's the cat extension. Like there's like, this team may not look the same in a few years, and they don't have a ton of picks. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's like not like a blow up, but like if they end up like, there's going to be a lot of recombination with this team.
Yeah. The Giannis thing looms as well.
Absolutely.
Which would scare me.
I guess, but I still like they have a problem though now where it's like, all right, well now Giannis and the Bucks like don't fucking like each other, and you know Giannis is going to go where Giannis wants to go, but like there have to be assets for him, and I actually don't know if OG Anunoby and some shit is going to be enough for Giannis. Sorry, you know, like it's tough to imagine that the Bucks take that after having essentially suffered through the last 2 years of this. So I'm still a little like. The math, like there's a reason a Giannis trade never broke with the Knicks until now. Even if the Knicks lose this offseason, I'm still, I need to see more on how that would work.
Yeah. And like as depressed as the price like seems to have sort of gotten with like as crazy as that situation is, like someone reported that the Warriors offered either 3 or 4 like first round picks as like a hard offer, and they turned it down, which is like, that's the price is not going to get higher than that, hopefully, but still. The last question we have on this dossier is, could your best player outmeet Shea? Noah has pulled out the calculator app on his phone.
Yeah.
Steam is coming out of his ears.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. I think the collective aggregate meat of Cat and Brunson could outmeet Shea and Chet.
Okay. Yeah, different answer, but
yeah.
You're onto something here.
Like, you know, like if there's a tranche of meat.
I think it's just like, I think Shea is like, you know, he's the reigning MVP, and I believe that he should win it again.
Yeah.
Like it's just the way it is. But I also think that like the like paper tiger quality of his aura, like the fact that everyone hates him, the fact that like, and they don't hate him in like a Kobe way where it's because he's an asshole and he buries your team. It's like, it's the free throws. It's the like the OKC of it all. It's the, you know, the like me and my team, like when they all did interviews together, like they fucking all sleep in the same bed, like the parents from Willy Wonka. Like fuck off, like that's corny. And so I believe that like Jalen could outmeet that. Like I believe that he could outmeet that without necessarily being at the MVP level right now.
A Brunson Shea finals would drive everyone so insane.
Oh my God. Well, especially because I will say this, I will then use this case to do a little bit of Knicks propaganda. Like, look at the fucking numbers, dude. Like, Brunson is barely getting to the line this year compared to like everybody, compared to like Luka, compared to all these people. Like, it's just like sorry, I don't like boo-hoo. Like, you know, like cry me a fucking river. Like, you know, like there are problems in the Middle East, okay? Okay.
And that's facts.
Yeah. And the name, Denny Avdia.
Yeah. To the Brunson thing, Brunson has the kind of erratic movement. Like, you know, Brunson gets caught in 4K doing the thrusts or whatever. But the actual problem that NBA fans bump on is that the literal experience of watching a guy shoot a free throw is boring. So
Correct.
if his numbers are down, or his free throw rates are down, it's like I got no problem with him, man. Like, it's like, get the ball and play.
Well,
Yeah.
he's a midi guy. Like, I didn't realize that until this season as much, how much of Brunson is about being like a mid, like he has like spots in the mid range, because I had always thought of him as like that was like part of his tool, but like really he's about like finding the lanes, misdirection and pass, like just like he's like a more prototypical point guard in that way. But now
Right.
there's this like part of his game that to me is part of what makes him so interesting and fun as a star now, which is that like his game is at like it is at all three levels, obviously, because he's fucking tiny under the basket. It's like the least interesting or valuable typically, but like he has these, it's what his clutch shots look like are less often these like walking into a three or, like pass. It's like he does the dribble the air out the basketball thing. And then he's like somehow like he's like, I don't know, 10, 11 feet from the basket. And it's like, oh, it just goes in. And it, it's like Shea, except he's, way shorter. And it looks so I'm at least glad that like my star is fun to watch. And I that would certainly be a Faustian bargain I would never take. Certainly not me. I would never want to have like an MVP whose game is like sometimes a little ugly to watch in exchange for like years of dominance. I would never do that.
No. We can't be having that. Well, the years of dominance start now. You heard it here first. Knicks over, let's say Nuggets in, let's say 4. Yeah, it's going to happen for sure. Well, thank you for joining us as always. We'll probably have to just like have you on at some point during the playoffs, I think, because some crazy Knicks stuff is going to have to happen. Like it's going to happen for sure. And so,
oh yeah, no, I will.
We'll see you
I
soon.
will be fucking like I'm either going to be calling in, with Jubilee, or you're going to be. You're going to like hear traffic in the background, and it's because I'm 10 floors above Canal Street.
Jumping over jumping off a building and landing in the middle of a side talk shooting. All right. All right. Well,
Dark
thank you,
bingo.
Noah. I know everybody.
pleasure.
You know where to find Noah. He's blowback. What else are you working on? I mean, I know you've been doing a lot of stuff with. I can cut this if I don't know how public this is, but your work with Cuba has been like kind of very
Yeah, I mean,
interesting and
yeah.
prescient.
So
what's
I mean,
going on
Brennan
there?
and I went to Cuba in January. We went about a month and a half before the convoy, and just like after the Maduro kidnapping, we had a lot of good contacts there, and it was like, all right, we know what's coming next, we should go. And yeah, I mean, I've just been trying to, I personally and Brennan and I together, both in different ways, have been just trying to bring attention to the issue, which is obviously getting very hard right now because the world is exploding sort of like kind of simultaneously.
Right.
But that was good. And then we're working on a mini series about the U.S.-Israel relationship. That's what I've been up to lately. It'll be coming out in like late next month. And then we have a full season coming later this year. We're going to announce the subject of that soon. We'll have a trailer. And we have a lot of and frankly, there's just like a lot of other stuff that we're not ready to announce yet, but that we're working on. And fans of our work will just have to stay tuned, and haters will just have to delude themselves into believing will never come to pass.
Dude, I'm so excited for the blowback season on Quebecois separatism. I'm glad someone's finally taking it seriously. So pumped.
Hey, it's I love poutine. I
And that's
love
facts.
poutine.
All right. Thank you, Noah.
These
All right. It's now time to talk about the team with the presumptive coach of the year, the runner-up for Peyton of the year. We got Jason Tatum coming back. It's very, big guest this time. We have Bill Simmons joining us. How you doing, Bill?
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm happy to hop on the podcast and show you guys nothing but respect.
Wow. That was good on the spot. I did not warm you up for that, but it's Sam Sheehan from Uniball. Thank you so much for joining us. You're a fan of the Celtics. This should be quick. What's your fucking problem?
Well, let me just say, my dad never told me he was proud of me growing up, and I wanted a franchise that would harbor the ontological evil that is festering in my soul. But also because I'm a coward, I don't ever want to see my team fail.
Right.
So, like in short, a weakness of spirit, just being a detestable oaf, I'd say overall kind of really primed me to be a Celtics, fan. So
it's funny, like, the Celtics get a lot of shit, right? The people are like, oh my God, especially on Twitter.
Yes.
And it is worth noting though, that like, if we did live in a world where the Celtics were basically thought of as the Antichrist in the way that NBA Twitter, thinks of them as, that Antichrist figure would look like Baylor Shireman. It would look like that. He is what it looks like. So I don't know what to make of that.
I don't know he's the dirtbag leftist, as I call him, because he's a southpaw shooter. That's that's our guy, Baylor Shireman. I mean, he does kind of look like he was like the stunt man for Jeremy Renner on The Town. And it's just like his average, like normal look in a day in, day out thing. I think that's a really interesting point you bring up about, if the Celtics were like kind of if Twitter was real life, right? Like, cause first of all, we would all be mothering out right now. Kamala would be, president. We'd be, having a great time. I do think for all intents and purposes, it would drive Jason Tatum a little bit less insane, because he would be like actually like kind of hated like Kobe Bryant, but instead he's kind of dying this death of 1,000 cuts in terms of like respect, where like outwardly everyone like to his face tells him like, you're so good, we respect you, we love you, but then like the second he walks out of the room, everyone's like elbowing each other and like, putting a thumb over their shoulder and like, get a load of this guy. And it is kind of driving him insane, culminating in like this season where the Celtics win like, basically, I mean, they won 56 games. They probably were on pace to win like 52 without him until he like came back. And Jaylen Brown is probably going to make first team All-NBA. He probably shouldn't have, but injuries kind of took it away. But he was probably had a strong case to make All-NBA in some fashion, even if everybody was healthy. And what you end up with is like this weird situation where things have gone really well for the Celtics, but also there is like a challengers style like tension running through the fan base in terms of like a Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown Cold War. I don't know if that pertains to the guys themselves, but like every Twitter interaction between like my longtime Celtics mutuals feels like the scene where Art and Patrick are in the fucking sauna in Challengers and like saying like I get to go home after this. You live here, man. It is like a very it's been a very successful season, but it's also been like very odd in a lot of these ways where I would say the contradictions have been heightened would be how I would call this the contradictions have been heightened season.
That's a good way to put it. And before we sort of get into our questionnaire here, something I actually needed to ask about, because this has been, I don't really understand it. Why is Deuce Tatum like the one baby whose name I have to know as an NBA fan? Like, I see them talking about him on the broadcast and stuff, and I'm like, who is this child? Like, I'm an uncle of 3 nephews. Like, I don't have room for more, man. Like, I have no love in my heart for this. Get this child off my TV. Go home.
Somebody had a tweet where they were saying, like, wouldn't it be funny if like Deuce actually wasn't a child? He was just like Hezbollah. Like I apologize for like not being able to like name check who said that, but that is kind of how he's treated. Like he's just off on like adventures, and they always like pan to him in the crowd. Like they cut away from the game the other day just to show his reaction to like eating Sour Patch Kids. Dude. It was very funny. Like.
That's the clip that prompted this. Yeah.
Yeah. Sammer in a group chat, Sammer Kalofta, an editor at Defector, said something which you don't hear that often, but in this case, I think I stand by it, is get this kid an iPad. Like, I'm tired of him engaging with the world, dude.
We need to fry this child's cortex. He needs. We need to give him the 1,000-yard stare. That you get from watching Post Malone play Fortnite for 12 hours at a time.
Okay, this is maybe a harder question to answer than it will be for any other team, because if I think about the course of the Celtics regular season, it's like, oh, this is happening again. Oh, okay. Yeah, they're touched by God. So what would you say are the high and like low points of the regular season that you just experienced?
I'd say honestly, like high points were like, I think Tatum coming back was a big one. And I think like 3 games after that, yeah, right. Deuce coming back, Deuce being in the crowd, right, sort of inspired us all. Tatum coming back, I think was big, like psychologically for the fans, but I think there was still kind of a sort of a little bit of a tension, like, and then like he had a game like 4 games later. I'm trying to remember who it was against, but he kind of popped off one of the games, and it's like, okay, we're back to normal, we're back on schedule, like. This is great. I think probably the worst part of the season was honestly probably like 6 games in. We had lost to like the Sixers, I think, in like the very first game of the year. Like there was like the Celtics.
Which I should just stop you, by the way, was Trill's highlight of the season.
yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. It was like, and like. But like all the Celtics fans were like primed for, we're tanking this year. We're gonna get Boozer. We're gonna get So there was this like awful like section, like because they lost like they were like 1-3 like the first 4 games of the year. There was this awful like 2-week stretch where like fans were freaking out when they started like winning and they got back to 500. So it's fuck this fucking team. They're ruining our tank. Like and which is like very funny looking back on it that it was like a 56 win team. But like that was like real like bad vibes just in terms of like everyone screaming at each other like on the timeline. Like there was a lot of like civil war going on. Like Jaylen Brown is like ruining our franchise. We need to trade him right now. Like this is the spoiled babies that you're like kind of dealing with like on Celtics Twitter is like it literally is like just weeping the second they push one of their like little custards off the fucking high chair and screaming even though there's 6 more like right there in front of them. I'm including myself in this because I had a meltdown when we drafted Hugo Gonzalez, who ended up being pretty good. So, yeah, all Celtics fans are bad, I guess is what I'm saying. So,
just one other low point I want to flag because I forgot about this until you were just going through this, and I get it falls from a timeline standpoint in the middle of what you're talking about is the curious case of the Jaylen Brown hair spray.
Yeah.
That was a moment where I felt like your guys' legs as an institution were getting shaky. Like he's rubbing spray on other guys, and then he's going on live stream and he's pretending to shave his head. Like I was like, these guys are unraveling.
Yeah, and you know what he did? You know how he saved it? I think I credit this with saving the season because I agree that was like when the top was wobbling a little bit. He hopped online and said, man, it's crazy what AI is doing these days. He posted his way out of it, like that is like a true poster. Figured that out. It didn't matter that later in the season he was saying crazy things about Scotty Barnes on the same live streams. It doesn't matter the fact that Derek White was going back on podcasts at that time, which was very scary because the last time he did that, he went on JJ Redick's podcast before he was a thing, and JJ Redick asked him, "Hey, so do you think it's like crazy that you like never miss a shot?" And Derek White like was like obviously like very confused by that, but like clearly got in his head because that was like when he immediately went cold and like ruined. Like JJ Redick did like some advanced like reverse psychology on him. So yeah, I mean those were all lowlights, but I mean it was like pretty much a like perfect like regular season just in terms of like expectations to everything. Again, Celtics fans are incredibly spoiled, so it is what it is there.
I mean, having Nemias Keita has been big for me personally, as like a big fan of his and just Portuguese guys generally. Like seeing him succeed has been really fun. I do just have to say, I Googled Deuce Tatum Achilles just to see if anyone wrung any content out of that. He has a byline in Slam magazine from a month ago when his father came back. Deuce Tatum does. Where he a byline in Slam where he was either interviewed or like just orated something about like it was bad when my dad tore his Achilles, but it's cool. I'm proud of him that he came back. And I just think like he's a child, but that makes him one of our colleagues and therefore subject to media criticism. So I just gotta say, fuck that guy.
That's like the oh god, I'm gonna butcher this, but what was this happened in the beginning of this year where somebody at like University of Arkansas wrote an essay in their freshman year English class and claimed that it was bad because of woke, or that they got a bad grade because of woke, but it was the worst fucking essay ever.
Yes.
We're gonna do that with Deuce Tatum. We're gonna be like, your pros are dog shit. AI, obviously LLM. You stupid.
Stop using so many adverbs, bro.
Yeah.
Did they teach you that in first grade yet?
Oh my god, dude. It's like fucking killing me to like picture like a guy like you're like, hey man, I got an assignment for you, and it's like, oh, awesome. Like, what am I going to be deployed to, like, cover the elections? Like, am I going to be like, it's like, no, you're gonna, this 5-year-old, you're gonna like follow this. What is he, like 7? You're gonna follow this 7-year-old around, and you're gonna like take his like dictation on like all of this stuff. That has to be so demoralizing. But hey, I mean, when Barry asks you to do something, you got to do it.
Just go. Never mind.
In 10 years, they're just gonna, when they want to denigrate our success on this podcast, they're gonna say we were podcasting against not plumbers but children.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the Celtics. I have to ask, who's a guy who drives you crazy
on this team? I mean, the answer is, I mean, for me, it's like Vucevic, which is like kind of mean because he's like he's kind of the only like bad player on the team. Like, and like they really just like, he was like a vehicle to like get out of like the tax. And it's just like, and it's not even, he just is like bad. You know what I'm saying? It's just more that he's bad. And again, to like follow the spoiled theme, like Joe Mazzulla turned like 4 guys who have been G Leaguers for like 2 years into like legitimate rotation players. Like, I can't stress enough that like everyone on the roster can play like somewhat competent minutes except Vooch. But like also we have people who have like grown up watching Vooch and are like, he's going to be huge for us in the playoffs. Right. And I'm like, I don't think he will, because he can't move his feet to save a pick and roll. Like,
Unk
maybe
does not still have it. Yeah.
Unk has negative is what's going on here. So he's kind of the only possible answer. And the second place would probably be Jason Tatum.
I thought you were going to say that. Yeah.
Because it's just like, I don't know. But honestly, he's been awesome. So I can't even really like give him a hard time either. All of my beef is with like enemy fans. This is kind of like what being a Celtics fan has been reduced to. You don't even have opponents in like other fandoms. It's the other fans that you want to like fight. Like a civil war is breaking out.
Wow, it sounds so annoying. Oh no.
Yeah. I know I'm winning a lot of hearts and minds right here with this.
Well, wait.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Speaking of what you're talking about, Noah Colwyn on his NBR hit, he said on this very pod that he was not worried about the Celtics and kind of threw some regular season team allegations at the Celtics. And, you know, that does loosely map onto a like shoots a lot of threes, plays fast. Is that going to slow down? Are you worried about that? What's your level of worry about that kind of thing?
I think pace-wise, we're pretty good. I think we're actually the slowest team in the NBA.
They basically play playoff style of basketball.
Yeah.
Now.
Oh, then I guess it's like just, you know,
threes.
Pinging the ball around, whatever.
Pinging the ball around is the threes. We're not, you know, we've only got the 2 guys who, well, no, we've got 3 guys who create advantages now. Like Peyton Pritchard is like genuinely
Garza,
Jordan Walsh. We've got all our guys. I would say Noah and I's positions have flipped a little bit here versus like last year, because I was talking crazy on the Knicks name last playoffs, and I much like Icarus plunged to the ground. So we will see. I have a healthy respect for the Knicks. I think we can beat them without Kristaps Porzingis like actively sabotaging a series. So if Joe Mazzulla like doesn't play Vooch like Kristaps minutes, I like our chances. I still think a lot of the games are going to be close, and like the Knicks could absolutely win. But I think I would give us like a 60-40 chance in like that series. So I feel like relatively confident. I have no idea what to do with the Pistons though. Like I have no idea how that series could go. The Pistons could stomp our brains out, or we could annihilate them. I have no idea what that matchup is going to look like. So
I mean, it's fine because they're going to play the Hornets anyway, so you don't really need to worry about that.
About to run into the buzzsaw. Are we like properly prepared? Because I was so excited to watch some Hornets playoff basketball, and I just realized we live in the darkest, shittiest timeline. The Heat are going to win that fucking 9-10
I don't think
dude.
the Hornets are. It doesn't feel good to think about. Like,
no.
I mean, it's just the crazy thing there. This is basically a Boston thing because of Knipple and Charles Lee. So we can talk about the Hornets. We're allowed to.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so crazy that they've been like the best team in the East for like 3 months and have been the 9 seed the entire time. Like, it makes me feel schizophrenic.
They like came like 2 games short of being like the 5 seed. It just sucks. Like, God damn it. Like,
no, it is so weird. Yeah. I know. And like they couldn't, from a narrative standpoint, and like an unfortunate, like if there's one coach who could junk up one game, like the Heat and Spoelstra, it's like you can't ask for a worse scenario.
It just and also just the Heat are like not fun and suck and are annoying. So it really is like, I don't know, fucking like hiring Netanyahu to come take like candy out of like a baby, like hiring him to like, it's like, okay, yeah, I guess that's what he should be doing. Like,
right.
Just go take the candy, go around stealing candy from children. Like, yeah, why not?
He's well qualified. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's like a rational outcome you'd be happy with? Like, do you think of this as like championship or bust, or like where's a place that they could get to that you'd be like, yeah, okay, that's like about what I expected. Like what's median here?
I'd be disappointed to lose in round 2 again, I would say. I say that I'd be happy with a conference finals appearance. I would probably still be like really pissed if we lost in the conference finals. I feel if we made the finals, that's an extremely successful season, and you can't really like be mad at it. It's honestly, it's conference finals, but I hate the fucking Thunder so much. I don't want to lose to the fucking Thunder.
Yeah.
Wemby, Jokic, please. You're my only hope. I'm very sad that they ended up on the same side of the bracket, so the Thunder get this fucking cakewalk against the Rockets in round 2. It was very unfortunate.
Not what our Lakers guest is going to say.
Yeah, really?
Exactly.
I'm sorry. Unfortunately, hand on shoulder about that one.
You don't believe in the Portland Trailblazers in round 1?
I'm not a.
They better not make the playoffs. I don't like watching that team. I don't want to watch them. I don't get them off. Might just go away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting Deuce Tatum protocols on them. Sam, thank you so much for joining us. This is great as always. You know ball. I mean that when both like lowercase letters and headline case, the podcast itself.
As always, very happy to join you boys. I always love talking with you boys, and hopefully all you fans know nothing but respect. Best podcast, NBA podcast this side of that coast. I would say.
Exactly.
West Coast, for sure.
West Coast pod. Okay, we are joined by Isle McElroy, author and the number one person where if we say something on the show that is either besmirching the Raptors or not giving them enough credit, or even I'll even say missing the name of like the 14th man on the Raptors, I will receive a text from Isle, setting the record straight, either putting me on game. So Isle, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I got really mad that neither of you could name Elijah Martin. like 3 months ago. Yeah, and I was like sitting there because I'm living in Vegas now, so I'm doing a lot of driving. I was like seething in traffic, and I was like, these fucking losers can't even name Elijah Martin, and they call themselves sports podcast hosts. And it was a really humiliating and humbling day for me to like text Harry angry. But it's great to be here.
I just got to say, 100% of the Raptors brain space that I have is allocated to knowing every syllable in Sandro. Mamu Kalashvili, is that it?
Mamu Kalashvili, yeah.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, that guy's awesome. There are some other players on the team, right? Is that they?
No, it's mostly just Sandro.
Okay,
Yeah. No, they do have some great names. I mean, Colin Murray Boyle's really fun to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have some long names. Scotty Barnes, like, not as fun to say, but Emmanuel Quickly, that's great. A lot of great rhythms in the names. Yeah.
I like the psychic damage of the sort of invisible R in Jakob Pertl. That's a fun one. It's like
load bearing.
Yeah, Jakob Pertl. I also don't even know if it's like Jakob or like I think it gets like changed around like every few days as well. So I just go with Jakob. He is probably the most frustrating guy on the team. Actually, they all frustrate me. So that's also the thing, Harry. I need to correct. There are also times if you say things that are too nice about the Raptors, I will also text you and say that you have been too kind to them. They actually do suck, and that I only have two modes, just sort of like optimism or doomerism.
Of course. Well, so
that's actually one of the questions we ask everyone is like, who is a player that drives you crazy? And so if you had to pick like who has given you the most consternation this season?
I mean, unfortunately, it's Scotty. Like, because Scotty can like absolutely take over a game. Like, there was a game against the Thunder like midway through the year in which like Caruso was playing point and he just ripped him twice. Like, just like at half court, like breakaway dunk. And he can like do that so easily. And then the next game, he like won't get a really soft foul call. And then we'll just be mad and like put up 4 points and like only shoot like brick mid-range jumpers the entire game. And then we'll do nothing. And he just gets like so in his own head. So he's like infuriating, especially when I like see him actually take over a game. Like Pirtle is too easy. Like the contract sucks. And like, but there are games when he's really good. But like Scotty, it's just so frustrating to see him like actually do something and then just completely disappear for like 4 points the next game.
I've been joking this year that the Toronto Raptors did not happen. Like that they're like there's sort of this narrative.
You mean like Jason Tatum's injury?
Exactly. Well, that's a whole nother.
Okay.
That's actually if you really want to know the deep state stuff that Isla and I are texting about, it has to do with
our sources have been telling us that.
Wait, Tatum, you're telling me that the blog that Deuce Tatum wrote for SlamMagazine.com was an op?
That was an op. Yeah.
Yep.
The same guy who does the geese marketing also did the Celtics comeback tour. No, but the Raptors are this funny team where they're in the 4-5, which for many teams would have been a huge win if they could have made it to the 4-5. I mean, like we were joking offline about Patrick about how the Hornets have won like 150 games in a row and are still the 9 seed. So like the Raptors had a better season, and yet there's this frustration, like Isle from yourself around the team. This sort of like general malaise going on there. What do you think that is? How do you describe the malaise of being the 5 seed?
I mean, I think it's because when they did win, they beat bad teams, right? And they can just sort of like feasted on a lot of tanking teams. They beat the Cavs 3 times, but the Cavs were injured most of that, and it was all before Harden was even there. They were just like, there are particular matchups that just completely shut them down. Like the Celtics and the Knicks, because they have big wings, just know how to like stop Scotty and Ingram. So there was no like real statement win. Even I think like y'all wrote about it at Defector. Like even on their like 31-0 run, it was the ugliest like run of all time that just seemed like so like clown college of just like, I feel like it was mostly just getting like turnovers and kickballs in order to like get that big of a run. So it's like nothing is like impressive about them. most impressive win they had was like beating the Thunder like without Jalen Williams. And that like, and I don't mean that as like I'm scraping for it. Like that is like what Raptors fans are like, remember when we beat the Thunder? Like remember like that is like actually and then they lost to the Thunder like at home. And it was a lot of like, yeah, this reminds us of the time when like KD came in and like torched the Raptors and like that was the turnaround for this team. It is very sad. So the things that they're clinging to all just feel bad, and like there are no statement wins. There's nothing that like they can actually go to. There's no one who can like really take over. Even Ingram, when he takes over, it's that feeling of like I felt it with DeMar all the time, that I'm pretty sure he's going to miss every shot he takes. Like even when it like looks really clean, I'm just like, this is the dumbest shot in the world. Why are you taking it? And then it goes in and it's like, I'm still mad. Like you shouldn't have taken that shot. Yeah. So there's nothing that like really stands out or feels good. All their contracts are bad. So there's like, it's not even like you can like hope to the future. This isn't even like a Pistons thing where you're like, well, at least we can just grow next year. Like next year, Jakob Poeltl is like, he's gonna get hit in like a logging accident or something, and like his back is gonna get even worse. Like it's gonna be awful next year. But so yeah, there's no like, it is just very much. I was listening to something right before this, and like even like Raptors like podcast hosts are like, hey, you know, next year we'll just deal with it when we get there. But like, but for now we've got the playoffs, so.
I feel like the case for optimism basically rests on Colin Murray Boyles like becoming bad Draymond Green. But like the thing I like about that is that like this roster is entirely composed of 6'8" or 6'9" guys, but you have like the shooting guard version of that in Barrett all the way up to like the center version of that in CMB. Yeah. And as a fan of a team who his current best wing player is DeMar DeRozan and has not had like more than one competent small forward at like once in the last 20 years, I'm so jealous of this like oops all tall wing guys. And I kind of feel, I mean, maybe this is just because I have only watched the, you know, Raptors maybe 30 or 40 times this season. I kind of feel like that's going to be awesome in the playoffs. Like if Harden's going to try to run this pick and roll shit, and then it's just like someone bigger than him is going to be on him, or Jamal Shad, who's crazy, on him 100% of the time. Like I could see this kind of working.
Yeah. I mean, so one problem with Shed is that all the refs have like figured out his foul baiting, and they are no longer calling the like sort of moving screens that he gets. Like he has like 50 of them on the year, which is just like an insane number. Awesome. And they've just sort of stopped calling them, and he just falls every time he like gets a screen. Murray Boyles is so good. Like genuinely, there's a game when they were playing the Spurs and Murray Boyles shut down Wemby. Like he just could not get to the basket, and it was just like incredible. And then like he went out with like a thumb injury. So like he's so good, and I can see it happen. The funny thing about the Raptors is that like 5 or 6 years ago, they were so intentionally like, we are Project 6'9". Everyone is going to be 6'9" on our team. And then like it didn't work, and they're like, fine, like we're done with this. And then they just sort of like, as if they're sort of like a relapsed alcoholic or something. Like they're just sort of like, they're just kind of like collecting more 6'9" guys like quietly, as if they're just sort of secreting bottles throughout the house. And then everyone looked up and it's like, I thought we were done with this. Like, how are all our guys 6'9" again? But like, Murray Boyles is. Yeah. I
can't go out this weekend. My parents opened the closet. They found Jonathan Mogbo in there. I'm still.
Okay. First off, I'm wearing a Mobo jersey right now. So yeah, which last year I told a friend, I was like, if Mobo gets a triple double, I am buying a Mobo jersey. And it's truly my favorite article of clothing. I love like wearing a jersey that's not even like a sort of like was on a team for 1 second, like star who was traded, but just like absolute only has ever been a 12th man jersey. Mm-hmm. I feel like is the high peak of like type of jersey an adult can own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, like esoteric ball knowledge on display.
Yeah, exactly. That's also a little humiliating.
Right, to even think that was at one point available to be purchased, and then you like knew about it.
I think I needed to like sort of create my own. Mm-hmm. It was like I needed to pretend that my last name was Mobo, and that like my personal number is 2. Yeah.
That's really funny.
I have a broad question about the psychic geography of Raptors fandom. Why are you guys like this? Like, what's going on?
It's a good question. Yeah.
So I think actually one reason. So the reason I'm a Raptors fan, like I've been to Toronto once in my life. And yet still I love them. And it's because like I was 7 years old and I found a Damon Stoudemire jersey with like the purple one with the dinosaur on it, which was like very intentionally done. They had this sort of like Happy Meal move that they tried to do, which is like, we will get kids involved in this team. And probably is that like, it gave us really like fucked up attachment issues, like to like be like attached to a new team that is so bad from the beginning, like that genuinely was targeting children. It's not like being a child and your dad likes the Knicks, then like you just have some other like attached connection to the Knicks. There is some history there. Because there is no history, I just feels like we're all sort of floating and don't really know how to react to things. We have real like anxious avoidant attachment in relationship to like things. We're like so desperately clinging. Like even the Ingram trade, like there were so many conversations about like, why do it? Why give him this money? And people become very like, well, no one's ever really gonna love us about it. It becomes like, well, like no one's gonna like sign here. Like we are not of worth, right? And like, and it's also like, even like I still love Kawhi. Like even though he was just sort of like fuck off you guys, like I never want to go back. Mm-hmm. And like everyone, like OG Anunoby, whenever like Raptors reporters talk to him, he so clearly hates having been in Toronto. Like they'll try to ask him like, there was some reporter that was like, oh, do you miss wearing scarves? Because he had like this big scarf meme, and he was just like, no. And then just like clearly didn't want to talk about it. So I think it's just, there were so many guys who just did not want to be there. Like I think it was Chauncey Billups, right? Who just like didn't show up and was like, I do not want to like be on that team. And that's happening like constantly to the Raptors. So I think they're just desperate for someone, we are just desperate for anyone to love us. And then when it happens, we get like obsessed in the way that like you get obsessed with like a partner who's treating you badly. Right. But I don't even think they're trying to like treat the fans badly. They're just sort of like they're just sort of like a bumbling fuckboy. And like over and over again. And that has done something to our psyches that, yeah, we will never recover from.
I think that's really well said, Isle. The only other thing I would add from the outside is like, there's this strange, the kind of Canada in the popular imagination over the last 20 years has basically gone from like the South Park guys that with their head talks funny and like, oh, they say oop and they say they whatever, and then just sort of immediately careening into Drake. And like those two things kind of exploding into each other creates the Toronto Raptors fan base as like,
and which is funny.
Yeah.
They've also quietly sort of pushed Drake away. Yeah. Like I don't think he like has his seat anymore. I think sometimes he will sit there and they don't bring put the camera on him. They have, I think he is no longer their ambassador. Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, he's been removed his ambassadorship.
Yeah. It's very sad too to just have such like someone who, I think that's also like the Drake part of it, is that Drake is someone who is just traditionally just following whatever team is winning, and to have that person sort of at the center again like has to just give you real anxiety as a fan.
Yeah, now that I'm remembering the DeMar like in the Kendrick video of it all, I think maybe the high point of the last like post-Beam era Kings basketball was the Kings owner wearing a Not Like Us shirt. Mm-hmm. And that's just like, you got to get those wins wherever you can. Also, I've looked it up, and the Raptors have not only still welcomed Drake back, they've iced out his 2 pair of courtside seats in a quote, rumored tribute to his Iceman album. So we all got that to look forward to on national TV. That's going to be great.
That's exciting. Yeah.
Oh God, that's it. Yeah. That's the reporting I didn't want to know about.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Isle, what's we'll get you out of here with this. What is a realistic outcome for the Raptors? Is it and that you would be like happy, like a realistic best case scenario that you would be happy with?
Yeah, so best case scenario is winning. I don't think it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Second to that, like losing in 7, I'd probably be pretty heartbroken. I think third to that is getting swept so badly that they're just like, we need to like get off Jakob like throw a couple picks away, like do something, like trade for whoever next year, like someone who can actually shoot. Like I do feel like that is the best thing that this team will eventually need, because there's just sort of not much actual ceiling here. But I think like somehow figuring out how to win in like 6 could be great. But they just don't have the shooting to like have one of those like hot games where like out of nowhere they were just like 14 of 21 or something. It's just not going to happen. So yeah, losing with dignity, but I sort of don't expect that to happen. I feel like it's going to be a gentleman's sweep.
I think that'll be a fun series. I don't know. Like it is interesting thinking about it now that like the one team above them and like all the 5 teams below them have gotten so much more like podcast attention this year. Like how many times have you heard like a long discussion of like the Khalil Ware Bam combination for like the fucking 10 seed, or like everyone's only talked about the Hornets, and it's like the Raptors are just there and they just kind of win all the time. Like I think maybe this is just residual fondness from Rob Ford smoking crack, but like I really want them to win this series.
Yeah, no, I do too. I think you're a little bit right there, but also I've been watching so much of them and I just like know. I feel like Harden, they are so bad with like point of attack guards, and Harden is just going to do the thing to like, because they need like Scotty on Mobley, and unless like Colin Murray Boyles is starting and like on Harden, which they can't really do because they need Yak to be on Allen. There's just like unless they just put on like Yak, Allen, and Murray Boyles, like maybe that for a little bit, but I just don't know how they match up with them in a way that could like realistically like go the distance. But I'm all for it if it happens. I think it will be probably more fun than I'm giving them credit for, but I think it's going to be like, it's going to feel a lot like those like tournament games where it's like, oh wow, like this is really close, and then like you look away and then like the Cavs are up like 42 like, and you like don't really know how it happens. Yeah,
that all makes sense. Well, I'll
yeah, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. What should the kids be doing? I know you have 2 books out. You write.
I have 2 novels. I have a novel called The Atmospherians and a novel called People Collide, and I have a third one called Satellite coming out next spring. And then I have a new piece in the cut about why crushes make us so annoying and terrible to our friends. Otherwise, Instagram, Substack, all that. Just search my name.
Hell yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys.
Anthony Edwards has met a lot of white people in his life, but the coldest one, according to him, is Michael Santola, who he played high school basketball with, played high school football with, has been on the show before representing the coldest white boys of all time, and is an Atlanta Hawks fan. So we wanted to talk to Michael about the Hawks for a few minutes. Michael, first of all, how you doing?
Great, man. Thanks for having me back on.
Of course.
Has there been any more residual white boy of the year? Like, has anybody talked to you about it anymore since we talked? Like, are you getting recognized? What's going on?
Random DMs every so often, and they're like, "Yo, is this you?" I'm like, dude, that was months ago. I'm like, yeah, that was me though. Yeah, I had clients and then friends of clients, and just every once in a while for sure.
I mean, it's a very like perfect level of fame where like those who know have to do like a little bit of legwork, but you're reachable.
I agree 100%.
I remember when we talked the first time, we joked about a Hawks Wolves potential finals where you have a dual loyalty thing going on, and like not that that's like likely, but that's certainly more likely than it was at the time. Like how are you feeling just generally heading into the playoffs?
I mean, I like where the Hawks are. I mean, this run we've went on, I like the new pieces we got. People will say I'm crazy, but I kind of wanted to get rid of Trae Young. I'm not going to lie. I think it was time. For that. It's just his defense was a little lazy. He was looking to pass a little too much, not scoring like he used to score. I mean, I'm feeling good. Harry, are you a Knicks fan? I feel like you're a Knicks fan.
No, I'm a Warriors fan. So no, we're not. We're not going head to head. But we did have we had a Knicks guy on. I think they're a little worried about the Hawks, as they should be.
Yeah.
Like, and to your point about the Trae Young thing, like part of I'm curious what you think, but part of what made it okay to part ways with Trae Young is, I mean, Jalen Johnson is just like sick as fuck.
Yeah, cold. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
so what?
amazing.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking like I had totally forgotten that the Trae Young trade even happened this season, literally until you brought him up, Michael, just because like it was such a non-event. Like not only did he not play for the Wizards, but they kind of just traded him for like some guys who have, obviously been helpful, but it seems like CJ McCollum has straight up been better than Trae, and also like just enabling Jalen to just run shit has been amazing for them.
Yeah. I mean, last few years I've seen like Trae's, he's not performing like he was in that Eastern Conference Finals run. I was like, every season it's like, oh, he'll do it this year, he'll do it this year. And then when he got hurt around, I don't know, maybe December-ish, he was out for a while, and we went on like a nice little win streak when he was gone. He came back, we lost like 10 in a row. I'm like, bro, he's got to go. Gotta go. I was done with it. I was fed up.
Yeah. All right. So wait, other than Jalen Johnson, who are the like unsung heroes of this Hawks team that you watching a lot? You're like, damn, okay, this dude rocks.
Definitely Nikhil Alexander-Walker for sure. He's a dog. I love him. I love CJ McCollum too. I've liked him since Portland days. And I was glad we got him. And I'd say, my boy Jock Landale. I like him a lot. We needed a big like that.
Yeah, he's just like a big athletic guy. I remember seeing some story, I'm going to butcher this, but like he got traded and then like drove to Atlanta and just played that day or some shit and put up like an amazing game.
Yeah, it was like he got traded to Utah. He was playing for Memphis, so that's like a 5-hour drive to Atlanta. He was about to get on the plane to fly, or he was flying to Utah. And then they're like, yo, never mind, you got traded to the Hawks. Hawks are playing Utah that night, so he's like, fuck it, I'm going to Atlanta to play against the Jazz. Drops like a 30-piece. And I was like, oh, wow. That was a revenge game right there. There was some, I loved it.
So I also have to ask, as a Warriors fan, how are you dealing with Jonathan Kuminga? Because he's a complicated guy. But I will say I want him to be successful in Atlanta. Like I felt like he was in a bad spot in the Warriors, but he's an infuriating player. So where are you at with him?
I mean, I was a big fan of him when he was with the Warriors. I loved his gameplay, his athleticism. I don't know if he was he anywhere before the Warriors? Do you know?
No.
Okay, so he got drafted to the Warriors. He won that chip early, so I like that. That veteran experience. And then we got Buddy Hield too, I love Buddy Hield, but we don't play him at all. And he drops 30 on the last game. Like, come on, let him play. But I like Jonathan Kuminga. I don't think he's too wild, too crazy. I mean, he's kind of fits our team. That's just kind of how the Hawks play. So I think it fits perfect.
Yeah, they're just like, they're so fun to watch right now in this iteration. Like just Jalen being this like massive, strong 6'10" point guard guy is just fun as hell. But like, they just seem determined to like play fast in a cool way.
Yeah, fast and chaotic. I think that's just how they thrive.
You've been giving a lot of compliments, but I got to ask, like, who's a guy on the team who kind of drives you crazy? Like, whenever he comes in the game, you're like, oh, some stupid shit's about to happen.
Oh, Zachary Ricochet. I fucking hate him, man.
Oh, yeah.
Forgot he was on the team.
He's not trash, but he's like, he plays timid. He's just not strong. He's not physical. He's just not doing what he needs to do. Being the number 1 pick, obviously that was the worst draft class in a while. But bro, you got to be doing better than that. He was a starter. Now he's on the bench, and he's got to perform harder, play harder, more physical, get stronger, make the shots he needs to make.
Yeah, he needs like 35. Dude, he needs to hit you up, honestly. Like he needs like 35 pounds of fucking muscle.
Dude, honestly, bro, I'll get him right. Yeah.
Wait, if you were training, if Ricochet and the Hawks are like, we need to put this guy in a training plan to like make him a better basketball player, like what are you doing?
First off, we're starting with that lower body. We got to get that right. So we're definitely doing squats. We're doing all types of squats. We're doing some trap bar deadlifts for sure. We're doing sprints for sure. We're definitely hitting some dumbbell bench, no doubt. Definitely pull-ups, some biceps just to keep everything even, some shoulder press. But yeah, and then some athletic movements too. But we need to get size on him, so we're going more bodybuilder style.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great plan. If I worked for the Hawks, I'd be hitting you up for sure.
Man, We got to get their attention.
Yeah. Say that. Hey, dude, the NBR bumps. We've been getting people places. We'll talk to our people.
We're trying to get one of our previous guests wants to sing the national anthem at the Nuggets, and so we're trying to make that happen. So once we get that, we'll move.
I think that will happen. I like
Yeah.
it. I like it.
Okay, I gotta ask. At All-Star game, Jalen Johnson and Anthony Edwards exchanged some words.
Oh yeah.
Anthony Edwards may or may not have on a hot mic said, "Man, you guys got a good team. I got to think about coming over there." Did you see that? Were you like, because you've been saying, like, on our last pod, you were like,
Yeah, I did.
he's gonna. I mean, not like we're breaking any news here, but you were like, he loves Atlanta. Like, you want him to come back to Atlanta. When you saw that, were you like, how Anthony Edwards?
I got happy. Yeah. Yeah. He said, "Y'all have Kuminga. Y'all have a nice something." And he's like,
Yeah.
He was just complimenting the Hawks, and I was like, "Oh yeah, he's coming." And I was like, when I saw that, I sent that to a bunch of people. I was like, "Bro, what did I say? I told you guys." I was like, "Just give it a little time." So I'm thinking maybe after this next contract, I don't know. It just depends because he's gonna probably get a super max. So
yeah.
But next time I see him, I'm definitely, because I've told him before. I'm like, "Bro, you gotta play in Atlanta, right? Like, bring them their first ever championship. You'd be a legend forever. You're already a legend, but bro, you'd be solidified. Like, it'd be over."
Hawks would be a good place to go because they made that incredible Derek Queen trade. So there's just like more shit coming in, a lot of good young guys. I just remembered like one of the big moments of this Hawks season was the Luke Cornett versus Magic City big controversy. And I got to ask, as someone who's not on the ground, that seemed like the thing that was going on there was this like total misunderstanding of like what Magic City is. And then in a broader sense, like Atlanta's whole deal. So like how did that feel as a Hawks fan?
Dude, I was disappointed because I was getting tickets to go to that game specifically to get the shirt and all that. I was like, "Oh, I got an amazing shirt." I was like, "I got to get it all," because I've been there several times. I mean, I love the place. The wings are top tier, so I think they were going to cater wings, which would have been awesome. They would have been like the lemon pepper Lou's or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So you were straight up actually affected. Like you were like, "I'm going to buy a ticket," and now I'm not going to buy a ticket.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to the game with my buddy. I wanted to get the shirt, everything. I was like, it's a whole ordeal. And they're playing the Magic too. Orlando Gogas on the team. I was like, "Oh, I'm going." Then they canceled. I was like, "Nah, fuck that. I'm not going."
Fuck yeah.
Will you be rooting against the Spurs now?
Against?
Like if Cornette comes into Atlanta, is he getting booed?
I don't know. I feel like not enough people know what happened to boo him. If they know, they know, but I feel like it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
He's still a good guy, good player.
Right. That's a nice way to, yeah. It's like, if Cornette had just gone to Magic City once, I feel like he's having the wings, he's seeing what's up there, you know.
It would be a different story. Never been. Clearly, never been.
Just got to open his heart. Yeah, have a little curiosity.
Yeah, man. Expand your horizons.
As we get into, I mean, you're locked into the 3-6. Everyone's going to pick the Knicks. What's like a rational, like best case scenario? Like what's something you could be happy with that feels realistic to you?
Definitely not a sweep, not a gentleman's sweep for us. I would be mad as hell if we got anything like that. I'd be happy if we lose in 6 or 7, obviously. But I think Knicks need to win the series. Like Knicks should not lose against us. But at the same time, nobody in the playoffs wants to play the Hawks. They're so random, chaotic. You don't know what you're gonna get with them. They're hard to defend. So I'd be happy losing in 6 or 7, but I would want to win in 6 or 7. I think we can win in 6 or 7 for sure.
One of our previous guests is a big the Nuggets people were just like, thank God Nikhil is not on the Wolves anymore because he ruined our life. And I just think about like Nikhil Brunson, like that's gonna be a fun matchup. I'm excited to see how that goes.
I thought it was interesting too because Nikhil was averaging 9 points last year. Now he's at 20, and the last person to do that was CJ 10 years ago on the Blazers. Now they're teammates, so I thought that was pretty neat.
That is interesting.
It could be good for us.
One final question before I get you out of here that's not quite about the Knicks, which is that you are, again, the preeminent coldest white boy we know. There have been the rookie of the year, probably for the first time since fucking 1960 something, is going to possibly be back-to-back white guys.
Yeah.
If you had to pick between Khan and Cooper, who's getting the
I'm going Cooper 100%.
Yeah.
He's just more versatile, can do more. He just got off to a slow start. I mean, that's all. Khan was hitting crazy threes, though. I mean, respect to him. He's a nasty player.
Yeah.
But I think Cooper's more all around built for the role.
Yeah. Him being like, I know this is joke, like people used to joke about Jason Tatum about this, but like him, the fact that he's like 19 and a half or whatever, he at 20 years old, that's where I get like, holy shit.
Makes me feel bad about myself. Like, this dude's 6 years younger than me doing this. I'm like, dang, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm getting to the point where there's like not that many NBA players younger than me. So just you have even more washed to look forward to. But
at least we got Ron though. Ron's keeping it up. You know?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This is great. Thanks for coming back to the show, and yeah, go Hawks. All right, it is now time to talk about the Orlando Magic, and to do so, we have invited to make his NBR debut, Ohio's #1 Magic fan and Defector business genius, Sean Kuhn. Sean, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good, thank you.
Thanks
Ohio's
for joining us.
#1 Magic fan. I was thinking of like, okay, this is maybe a stretch, but a sort of Les Wexner, David Blaine making somebody disappear at a Les Wexner private party. Is that anything?
Trolling. Yeah, I don't want to go too far into this. I actually worked at Bath and Body Works, so that was my first job out of college. So we'll drop that there.
I definitely want to go down that tangent, but I know we got to get you out of here at some point soon. So I guess I just want to start by asking, like, what is the Magic's fucking problem? Why are they always like this?
Yeah, they're. I mean, I guess I am a fervent adherent to the root for your guys ideology as like a Defector staff policy. So before I get into that, yeah, this year they're just like fundamentally a 500 team or whatever, and the strain that one feels as Ohio's #1 Magic fan is believing that they're anything more than that. So I mean the record is what it is, sort of just like totally neutral point differential in the aggregate. So yeah.
Where do you fall? Because one of the kind of lightning rods around the Magic this year, or the lightning rod, has been the kind of discussion around Paolo as is he good or not? Basically, where do you fall on that? Has it changed over the course of the season? What's going on there?
Yeah, maybe the worst thing I can say about Paolo is that I want to send him to Julius Randle Vocational College to learn how to do normal power forward stuff at this point.
No.
I think what's clear with Paolo is that at this point he's just definitely not an offense unto himself in the true heliocentric way, but he is, generative and productive when you surround him with spacing, and especially when you give him somebody else who can help initiate. He's like very effective with a half step advantage on a defender. That turns into a good shot all the time. And he just like absolutely will never ever create that out of an isolation. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the story with the Magic this year is just kind of like a more advanced version of the story we've seen for several years, which is like this. I mean, they're basically perfect podcast segment fodder, because you can caveat the take you're about to take by being like, well, he's like played 1 minute with Anthony Black and Jalen Suggs in his entire career, and then comma, and therefore like Paolo is ass, but we can't actually say it, is like kind of how people talk about it. But like, to me, the injuries have been the story for this team for like 3 years. And I just wonder, like, is this a Jamal Mosley thing in any way? Or is this just like Entropy is just putting up dub after dub?
Somehow it might be a training staff. Like they have had 3 or 3.5 like very high profile oblique injuries, which is just like that's like a baseball injury. That is not a basketball injury. So I don't know if they like have them doing weird twisting, or they've got like the big heavy ropes or whatever. So they're doing something crazy in there that's not helping matters.
Mosley is doing MMA training on the guys.
Yeah, he's actually just fighting them in the locker room or whatever. The injuries are a big part of it, obviously. If you think like the halcyon days of 2024, that team's recipe was like the starters are going to like bludgeon you to a 75-75 draw in their 36 minutes. And then like the nastiest stuff is ever is going to happen in the next 16 minutes, which is like Joe Ingles, Mo Wagner pick and rolls, and John Isaac is going to anchor a defense, and they're going to beat you by 8 points in those 16 minutes. And the injuries, as much as it has hurt to lose Franz for huge stretches of the season, and same with Anthony Black, and even Paolo was hurt for a while. I think the bench has been really bad this year. We have not had that like Mo and Joe pick and roll offense to go to. And so what you've had, and you saw this in the Sunday game that they lost to the Celtics, the lineups that really fail for them are like, it's Paolo or, one of the other stars. Maybe it'll be Bane. Sometimes it's Franz, but it's like one real guy. And then Javon Carter and Jamal Cain, who are like the poorest possible facsimile of 3-and-D guys who don't do any creation at all. And Goga, who's like a competent backup big, but is not going to create any offense for you. And then, Anthony Black or whatever, who's a cool player, but is not a second creator at this point and is not somebody who'll space the floor. And that's the Mosley, that's like an injury problem, right? That they just like don't have enough guys to have out there with Paolo because he's not good enough to do it on his own. But also a coaching problem where there's just like not a good theory for that lineup, and it just sort of doomed to fail, and that falls on Paolo, I think.
I got a random question just from my Michigan priors. Does Jet Howard exist still?
They declined his third-year team or fourth-year team option or whatever, so I guess he's sort of been on the outs for most of this year. He was much more normal this year, which is good. He's one of the few guys that I trust to make shots. And I say that, and at some point later in the second half of this year, I looked at his 3-point percentage, and he was shooting like 29% because all of the bench guys shoot like 29% or whatever. His jumper looks awful. Did it look that nasty in college? Okay, yeah. It looks bad, but I feel like it's going in. But yeah, he doesn't play much. He's not not trusted to defend or whatever.
Yeah, he was just a strange one where he was drafted, and basically on draft day, they were like, yeah, he's out of the league. Like I was like, all right, what the hell?
They had to do it was like they had to do a series of complex favors for just their general like Michigan alliance that they have going down there with all the former Michigan guys that have gone there. It's like you got to just do a sop to the program, and it led to the 2026 title. So it's like it's hard to really denigrate it.
Yeah,
I have to ask, like, I feel like we've talked about this general like lull, but like if you had to define high and low points of the regular season, like what would you say they were?
The high point was the Desmond Bane trade, and it has been a steady decline ever since. Maybe
that's totally right. I think. Yeah.
So the optimistic case for them, and the reason that I am still resolute in rooting for my guys is that they've actually been really good. Like the starting unit has been really good, and so there hasn't been a whole lot of the main five. So like Suggs, Bane, Franz, Paolo, Carter. But even if you just cut that down to Suggs and Bane and Paolo and Carter, that group is like plus 10 net rating in 1,500 possessions, and that's with. The rest, that fifth spot has been like 1/3 of the time Franz, 1/3 of the time Anthony Black, 1/3 of the time Tristan Da Silva, and all those lineups really work. And so, I like the case for optimism is that in the playoffs you're going to play your starters more. That group is going to play more together, and in those lineups, Paolo's not out there by himself. And so I don't know. I like all the guys are healthy. They're not 100%. Franz still looks pretty limited, but. As you lean on the starters more in the playoffs, there's less Jamal Cain in the monitors, and maybe it'll be okay. Is the the way that this maybe works.
My guy Noah Penda is not going to see big minutes in the first round.
I like Penda, I like Cain, I like Carter. They seem like good dudes, but they're not going to win you a playoff series, I don't think.
It's a bummer too with this Magic team because healthy Jalen Suggs is one of my favorite players to watch in the league. Like he gets after it. He cares so much, and he is like a great kind of team manager, game manager, point guard. Like he gets people in the right spots. It's just he can't stay healthy.
Wait, I'm so happy you brought up Jalen Suggs because this gives me the opportunity to put Sean on the spot and finally put him in a position to publicize this like amazing Jalen Suggs wardrobe analytics project that he's worked on all year. And I don't know if the study is in peer review still or not, but can you at least like reveal the abstract of what you've assembled?
Yeah, you're overstating it by a little bit because
I don't think that's true.
Adam Silver cracked down and did not let us collect data. The story was Jalen Suggs was doing the Deion Sanders thing and wearing his headband around his neck to start the game until Adam Silver said, "No, you can't do that." He told the broadcast at some point that he would wear the headband around his neck at the start of the game until he felt locked in. And then once he felt locked in part of the way through the first quarter, he would move it up. So, he'd need to hit a shot or get a steal or something, and then he would adjust. So no, unfortunately I do not have the splits. I stopped tracking this after a couple of games. But
if I remember correctly, he was like performing. There was some correlation between headband around neck and like positive performance in some way, or maybe it was like the earlier he brought it up, the better he was doing. Like there was you unearthed some data.
There was data there.
I don't like to talk about it. Yeah, he claimed that was the claim. I don't, correlation causation. Who can say? I did want to bring up other Jalen Suggs sartorial news. Javon Carter came in, famous bald guy. And set Jalen Suggs, famously bad hairline guy, free. So Jalen Suggs has been totally clean shaved head, bald. He's actually not been wearing the headband over the last couple of games here. And it's because Javon Carter came in and set him straight and said, "You don't need to be hanging on to what's going on up there. Just be free, young man."
This reminds me of fellow guy who sucks, Devin Carter. One of the most tragic hairlines I've ever seen. Like it looks like there's two little teeth poking out front. He got in a national TV game early in the season, and everyone made fun of him so much that he's now worn a headband ever since, like for the next 6 months. So that's tough.
It is tough.
I gotta ask. We've kind of been talking in like sort of abstract terms, but like Magic are the 7 seed in the play-in. What's like a
correction?
What's like a rational?
They're the 8 seed because they lost.
They're
to
the
the
8. I forgot about that.
Celtics.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Got dog walked by Luka Garza. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the amount of Baylor Shireman angst I can just feel emanating from the basketball internet is kind of fun.
Yeah.
But what's like a rational outcome you'd be happy with?
So they I think they lost 3-1 or 4-1 to the Celtics last year, but were competitive. That's probably about what I would expect this year. I don't like the matchup particularly with either the Pistons or the Celtics. They have beaten the Pistons twice this year. Both, I think the first matchup was high stakes NBA Cup match up to win their group. And so maybe I prefer the Pistons matchup a little bit more, but I'm not expecting too terribly much, unfortunately. But could they win 2 in a series? Sure.
I thought you were going to say get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I guess I'm hopeful that they beat this decrepit, nasty Sixers team or whatever. Maybe I'm penciling them in for that. I am worried about they have not looked good against the Hornets or whatever. So it will be in dire straits if the Hornets take care of the Heat and then the Magic fall in the first play-in game here.
I am worried that what we are hurtling toward is a bookend to the highlight of your season being the Desmond Bane signing, that the second highlight will be the Jamal Mosley firing at the end of the season, and then that will kind of like spring out some optimism, because I do, you get one of these like he's gone 750 and 14 in the Czechoslovakian third league, like he's an offensive genius coach. You get him in, I could see the Magic fans talking themselves into an exciting 2026-2027 campaign.
Yeah, Mosley, I like Mosley as a guy. He would be like an upstanding member of the community or something, but he's pretty one note. He's like, his one trick is like defend harder, run more. And that message has just basically stopped working with the guys who are sort of have intermittently been in open revolt against him this year.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Paolo thing around the All-Star break when they were just like sniping at each other. Not great. Well, I hope they beat the Sixers. I would rather see them against the Celtics in the first round, if only because like at some point someone needs to beat the Celtics, and even if it's not the Magic, like I think they can just do enough like attritional damage to make that more likely in the rounds to come. So for mostly indirect reasons, I'm pulling for your guys.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Thanks for keeping the lights on at Defector, and yeah, we'll see you soon.